Chapter 2689. In an independent space on the first floor of the Starfall Tower, Tick Mo's body was as black as ink, and the dark golden lines were particularly conspicuous. The unique Universe God mark of Universe 7 was very eye-catching. His eyes were full of magic power and filled with strong fighting spirit. The human Nye Mo has entered the Starfall realm? Tick Mo frowned slightly. Yes, sir. Divine Adjudicator, He Tong reported truthfully. Tick Inc. Universe God fell silent. He had investigated many suspicious new human experts on the fallen star continent, and he was not sure if they were all killed. The human Nye Mo was also one of the suspicious targets. Tick Mo thought the possibility of Nye Mo being the target was less than 1%. However, he would not miss it even if it was 1 in a million. As long as he caught him, it would be a great contribution. The human Nye Mo is good at controlling attacks and has a very strong soul. Although he's not good at using blades as recorded in the information, the primordial chaos venerable soul is very strong. He could hide his close combat ability. Judging from the time span, the human Nye Mo is at the peak of Huang Zun. The target human Lin Feng shouldn't be able to become Huang Zun so quickly, but we can't rule out the possibility that he has a treasure to hide his aura. It's just, Tick Mo was also hesitant. If the human Nye Mo was really the target human Lin Feng, there was no reason for him to enter the Starfall realm now. To enter that realm, one would need to be at least at the peak of Huang Zun's combat strength. Generally, one would need to have the combat strength of a primary-level ultimate god to protect themselves. Although the human Lin Feng's close combat strength was at the primary-level ultimate god level, his soul power was also at the primary-level ultimate god level. He Tong, you stay here. Tick Mo's eyes sharpened as he said in a deep voice. Yes, sir. Divine Adjudicator, He Tong responded. Let's go. He would rather kill the wrong person than let him go. Tick Mo quickly disappeared from the first floor. As a member of the Divine Adjudicator and an expert ranked in the top 100 among the universe gods, Tick Mo was eager to become stronger. However, there was a limit to the strength of a universe god. The limit was determined by the heavenly way of the universe. As long as he could make this contribution, he would be favored by the heavenly way. It was a great opportunity. The Starfall realm. Sure enough, there are meteor fragments everywhere. Lin Feng sped all the way and saw fallen star fragments everywhere. If they were on the Scattered Stars Island, the Venerables would have already fought for them, but in the fallen star territory, few people cared about them. In this place, the weakest person was Huang Zun at the pinnacle. It was not worth it to waste time and energy to pick up a meteor fragment that was only worth 1 battle point. Battle was the main theme of the Starfall realm. The value of the primordial chaos treasure for killing an opponent ranged from 10,000 to more than 100,000. Of course, if they came across a fragmentary star map that was worth more than 100 battle credits, they wouldn't miss it. 108 fragmentary star maps could be combined into a falling star map, and 108 falling star maps could be combined into a complete falling star treasure map. The value of the fragmentary star map wasn't fixed, but it was usually around 200,300 battle credit. As for the falling star map, its price was in the 300,005,0000 range. Although most of the meteor treasure maps made from meteor maps were only 1-star grade and were worth 1 million battle merits, a 2-star grade meteor treasure map would be worth 10 million battle merit. If it was a 3-star grade meteor treasure map, it would be worth hundreds of millions of battle merit. It was something that could only be found by chance. Find traces of the Black Pool Jade. Catch the treasure thief. Lin Feng accepted 2 6-star missions. They were both in the Starfall realm and could be carried out at the same time. The reward for the former was battle merits, and the reward for the latter was a unique item of the Starfall realm, a key. The Black Pool Jade, the Red Pool Jade, and the Purple Pool Jade have similar names. They might be of the same type. Lin Feng had absorbed the red pool jade and the purple pool jade, so his control of the soul had improved greatly. The first mission, which was to find the black pool jade, had a clue. But for Lin Feng, he didn't have to complete it and exchange it for battle merit. He could take the black pool jade. As for the second mission, which was to find the treasure thief, Lin Feng was more curious about it. Is the key to open the treasure chest? The second mission also had a clue. It was marked with a few dozen places where the treasure thief frequented. It would be difficult to search them one by one. Lin Feng didn't plan to search them one by one. He accepted the mission out of curiosity and also because the mission directly lit up the map. It was an unintentional gain. If he wanted to walk in the huge Starfall realm like walking on flat ground, he would need a map to guide him. As for battle merits, he had already obtained 500,000 battle merits when he first entered. After that, he killed a primary level ultimate god and his battle merits were back to 1,000,000. To Lin Feng, the need for battle merits was not great. If he completed the mission step by step and earned some battle merits along the way, he would probably be able to earn a few million. There were too many godly venerables there. The clue of the black pool jade points to this cold valley. Lin Feng clearly found the location of the cold valley from the treasure thief's map. It was also one of the places where the treasure thief might appear. Lin Feng maintained a steady speed. He controlled several nether sand swords at the same time in case of an emergency. It was easy to control several nether sand swords due to the vastness of the source sea and the recovery rate of his soul origin power. Not only could he train his soul control, but he could also attack in case of a sudden battle. Oh, there are humans. Lin Feng sensed the movement in the cold valley in front of him. There were 2 primary-level ultimate gods and 1 peak-stage human, Huang Zun. Lin Feng generally didn't kill humans on the battlefield. Although they didn't know each other, Lin Feng generally wouldn't deliberately kill humans as long as they didn't initiate an attack since they were all humans. There was a consensus among human experts that the probability of killing humans from the same clan was about 50%. As for the Devil clan, there were no scruples at all. It was the same for the Demon clan. I've been discovered. Lin Feng felt a wave of soul fluctuation. At the same time, one of the primary-level ultimate gods also sensed him. He had at least a soul-type ultimate chaos treasure on him. Whoosh, whoosh. Lin Feng instantly got ready for battle. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 human figures instantly appeared in front of Lin Feng. There were 2 men and a woman. The 2 men were primary-level ultimate gods, while the woman was Huang Zun, a peak-stage ultimate god. They were surprised to see Lin Feng. "Brother, are you alone?" The leading man with curly blonde hair looked at Lin Feng curiously. "Yes." Lin Feng didn't hide it. What he meant was, if you want to fight, you can start now. However, the 3 human experts did not seem to have any intention of fighting. The other burly man swung his giant hammer and laughed. "Brother, you're so brave to challenge the Starfall realm alone when you're only a peak-stage Huang Zun." "He's better than you, second brother." The beautiful short-haired woman could not help but laugh. The man with curly blonde hair looked at Lin Feng with a smile. "Brother, are you also here to capture the Black Pool Jade?" "Capture the Black Pool Jade?" Lin Feng was stunned. Chapter 2690. I don't understand. Lin Feng was a little confused. Wasn't the Black Pool Jade a type of jade? Why was it captured? Wasn't it usually a type of life form that was captured? "Brother, did you not accept the Black Pool Jade mission?" The man with curly blonde hair scratched his head and looked at the beautiful short-haired woman. "Are there other missions here?" The short-haired woman shook her head. "No, I accepted the Black Pool Jade mission," Lin Feng answered. The Black Pool Jade wasn't a unique mission. As long as it wasn't completed, any 6-star warrior could see it and complete it. But I thought the Black Pool Jade was a type of jade. The 3 human experts couldn't help but laugh. The muscular man with the giant hammer laughed heartily. The black pool jade is a type of elven life form in the Cold Valley. It's best at hiding. It doesn't even have any life energy. It's not easy to find it. Black pool jades usually gather in large numbers. Brother, since you're here for this mission, why don't you join us? The man with curly blonde hair smiled at Lin Feng and pointed at the battle order in his hand. Ding! Hierarch Cloudy Blue invites you to join the team. Hierarch Cloudy Blue was the man with curly blonde hair. The team invitation this time was an official invitation. It was a two-way contract with full guarantee. It wasn't a rookie contract. Lin Feng knew that, so he didn't think too much about it and accepted it. Since he was here, he would complete the mission. After all, it was a 6-star mission with a high difficulty reward of 300,000 battle points. Cloudy Blue. The man with curly blonde hair smiled. Hui Hong. The muscular man carried the giant hammer on his shoulder. Kai Qing. The beautiful short-haired woman smiled sweetly and introduced herself. Niemo. Both parties could see each other in the team interface in the battle order space. However, out of courtesy, they still introduced each other to show their welcome and respect. Hierarch Cloudy Blue, Hierarch Hui Hong, and Kai Qing Huang Zun. After chatting for a while, Lin Feng got familiar with them. Hierarch Cloudy Blue, Hierarch Hui Hong, and Kai Qing Huang Zun were very close. They called each other brothers and sisters. Hierarch Cloudy Blue was the eldest brother, Hierarch Hui Hong was the second brother, and Kai Qing Huang Zun was the youngest. How? Are you sure the Black Pool Jade sprite is in the Cold Valley? Lin Feng asked. Yes, but the Cold Valley is full of tree holes that lead to all directions. Plus, the Black Pool Jade Fairy's whereabouts are a mystery. It won't be easy to earn 300,000 war credits, Hierarch Cloud Blue said. The main reason is that the Black Pool Jade spirit can even hide its life aura, completely blending into the environment. We'll have to turn the entire Cold Valley upside down to find it. I've heard that many ultimate gods have been here for dozens of eras without finding anything. It's most efficient to act separately. Supreme God Hui Hong looked rough, but his mind was quite meticulous. According to statistics, we can find the Black Pool Jade spirit in about 10 eras on average. If we split into 4 groups, I believe we can find it in 2 to 3 eras. Agreed. Kai Jing Huang Zun had no objection. All right. Lin Feng nodded. With 4 people searching in 4 different directions, it was naturally much more efficient than 4 people searching in one place. In any case, there was more than one Black Pool Jade. It was a social life form. As long as one could find one would be able to find many more. No matter who found it, the mission would be more or less completed. There might be other cultivators here. If you see them, alert us immediately, Hierarch Cloud Blue reminded them. Everyone nodded. There was a warning option in the team interface. As a member of the team, they could see it clearly. The 4 of them split up and went their separate ways. There were no other cultivators in the Cold Valley, but 6-star missions were open to the public. It did not mean that there would not be any cultivators in the future, so they had to be careful. Capturing the Black Pool Jade spirit for no reason. There should be something special about it. Lin Feng did not think that a Black Pool Jade spirit was worth 300,000 war credit. Obviously, he had overestimated it. The Cold Valley's terrain was complicated. It was high at the top and low at the bottom. Huge tree houses were brown, green, and black. They formed the entire terrain of the Cold Valley. It looked quiet and cold. The Black Pool Jade spirit can hide its life aura. Lin Feng spread his origin soul energy and did not sense any life aura. He did not know whether it was because he could not sense it or because the range was not large enough that he did not touch the Black Pool Jade spirit. But if it was so easy to find, the other reverends would not have spent 10 or even dozens of eras. The complicated tree holes here are very suitable for practicing soul control. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The nether sand sword flew out. The tree holes in the Cold Valley were like snake-shaped paths connected together, winding and complicated. The acceleration, transformation, and control of the nether sand sword had to be extremely precise at every moment. Otherwise, it would directly collide. So. Lin Feng's heart moved, and 108 nether sand swords appeared from the origin sea. With Lin Feng's current soul control ability, he could use 32 nether sand swords. It was not difficult to control 108 nether sand swords at the same time. However, it was too difficult to control 108 nether sand swords at the same time. The first time, he failed. The second time, he also failed. After the third failure, Lin Feng reduced the number. He first controlled 10 nether sand swords and then slowly strengthened them. The Mirage Sea nether sand was his current main attack method, so he naturally had to temper it to its strongest power. Moreover, the nether sand swords shuttling through the tree holes was more agile and faster than him shuttling through the tree holes. Since he was looking for black pool jade, using the nether sand swords to find it with soul power was naturally more effective. Everything was difficult at the beginning. It took Lin Feng 10 years to perfectly control 10 nether sand swords at the fastest speed and the most perfect shuttling. It was more difficult than expected. The same fine control obviously had a difference in strength. Just like a peak ultimate god expert, a peak ultimate god expert with 1,000 times soul power, and a peak ultimate god expert with 100,000 times soul power. In 100 years, Lin Feng could perfectly control 20 nether sand swords. However, after that, the number of swords he could control gradually increased from 30 to 40, then 50, then 60. Lin Feng's soul control also increased from 5 times. In the 500th year after entering the Cold Valley, Lin Feng could perfectly control all 108 nether sand sword. His soul control was more than 6 times. Lin Feng's soul power level was more than 9,600 times, close to the peak ultimate god limit of 10,000 times. The Black Pool Jade Fairy's search was also in full swing and extremely efficient. 108 nether sand swords were equivalent to 108 Lin Feng searching at the same time and at a faster speed. Searching for 100 years was equivalent to searching for an era. Indeed, the Black Pool Jade Fairy had no breath of life, no energy, and nothing could be sensed. However, other ultimate gods spent an average of 10 eras to find it. Although Lin Feng did not have any special skills, he could still move mountains with the number of nether sand swords. Found it. In the 637th year after entering the Cold Valley, Lin Feng finally found the whereabouts of the Black Pool Jade Fairy. Chapter 2691. So this is the Black Pool Jade Spirit. Lin Feng could clearly see the Black Pool Jade Spirit through the nether sand swords. It wasn't as lifeless as the legends said. However, the Black Pool Jade Spirit's aura was very unique. It blended in perfectly with its surroundings. Its aura was changeable. It could be as big as a tree, as small as a rock, or even dust. It could even blend in with its body. Therefore, it was very difficult to find the Black Pool Jade Spirit in the complicated Cold Valley. Because there were too many tree tunnels, cultivators had to use their eyes to find the Black Pool Jade Spirit. There were very few one-thought ultimate gods in the Supreme God realm. Most of them were close-range ultimate gods. Even if there were some unique chaos ultimate treasures, they could only save 1 or 2 times the time. Lin Feng was the only one. He had found the Black Pool Jade Spirit in just 637 years. And during this period of time, Lin Feng was not only searching, but also cultivating. He could perfectly control the 108 nether sand sword. His control had truly reached a level where he could control them as he pleased. He was already nearing the limit of the first level of control of the Mirage Sea nether sand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Not long after, Ultimate God Yunlan, Ultimate God Huihong, and Huang Zun arrived. Did you find something? The 3 of them were very surprised. It took them 10 eras to complete the mission. Even if there were 4 of them, it hadn't even been 1,000 years. How could they find the Black Pool Jade Spirit? Impossible. In the eyes of Hierarch Cloud Blue and the others, Lin Feng must have discovered some clues. However, since he had found something, it meant that there was a possibility of the Black Pool Jade Spirit. It would be much more efficient to follow the clues. Yes, I've found the Black Pool Jade Spirit, Lin Feng said. Hierarch Yunlan and the other two looked at each other. As Lin Feng walked through the tree tunnels, the three of them arrived at the spot where Lin Feng had found the Black Pool Jade Spirit. Kai Qing Huang Zun's beautiful eyes lit up like the stars in the night sky. She covered her mouth and said, "Really? Gee, the Black Pool Jade Spirit." Ultimate God Hui Hong's voice trembled. 5. Hierarch Cloud Blue's golden curls fluttered as he smiled. One for each of us. There are still more. Just as the three of them were about to capture the Black Pool Jade Spirit and complete the mission, they were stopped by Lin Feng. "Wait a little longer," Lin Feng said. "Huh!" Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other two looked at Lin Feng in surprise. "It's somewhat special." Lin Feng looked at the 5 Black Pool Jade Fairies that had merged into the gray stone and said softly, "It won't be too late to capture them after a while." "Special?" Hierarch Cloud Blue and the others didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. No matter how he looked at them, they were all Black Pool Jade sprites. Furthermore, weren't the Black Pool Jade sprites in this form? However, since Lin Feng said so, Hierarch Cloud Blue and the others respected his decision. After all, it hadn't even been 1,000 years yet. Moreover, the 5 Black Pool Jade Spirits were all found by Lin Feng. Waiting for a while was fine. "Let's listen to Brother Niemo." Hierarch Cloud Blue looked at Hierarch Hui Hong and Kai Jing Huang Zun. Both of them nodded. Lin Feng smiled at the three of them. He had indeed discovered something, but he wasn't sure. "Let's set a time limit of 500 years. If there are no changes, we'll complete the mission." Lin Feng didn't plan to waste too much time. It didn't matter if there were any changes or not. He was just curious about the uniqueness of the Black Pool Jade Spirits that might be helpful to him. 500 years was not a long time. It just so happened that he could make use of the Cold Valley's geographical location to cultivate the Mirage Sea Serene Sand to the extreme. In less than 500 years, his soul origin strength would exceed the standard Ultimate God level by 10,000 times and truly reach the limit of a peak Ultimate God. Hierarch Cloud Blue and the others were not in a hurry. 500 years was just a blink of an eye. 4 cultivators at their level, a single seclusion to comprehend the heavenly law would take several eras. There were not many changes on the 100th year. On the 200th year, Hierarch Cloud Blue also discovered something. On the 300th year, the changes in the Black Pool Jade sprite were already very obvious. Honorable God Hui Hong and Honorable God Kai Jing could also clearly see it. The three of them were endlessly impressed by Lin Feng, because at the very beginning, there was not even the slightest trace of it. On the 400th year, so this is the true face of the Black Pool Jade mission. Hierarch Cloud Blue sighed. "We almost missed the real Black Pool Jade mission." Hierarch Hui Hong also sighed and looked at Lin Feng, who was cultivating with his eyes closed. He said softly, "Brother Niemo is really meticulous and observant." "Exactly." Kai Jing Huang Zun smiled. "I didn't expect us to complete this 6-star mission so quickly. There are even additional rewards." Hierarch Cloud Blue smiled. "No wonder Brother Niemo is already a peak Huang Zun at such a young age. Brother Niemo hasn't been idle for the past 400 years. He has been cultivating all the time. His perseverance is excellent." Hierarch Hui Hong laughed heartily. "You and I have been like this before. Before reaching the upper limit, we worked hard to improve ourselves. However, everyone has their own fate. The upper limit of one's strength is already set. After reaching a certain level, unless there is a great opportunity, it will be difficult to improve." Kai Jing Huang Zun looked at Lin Feng with her beautiful eyes. "Niemo will definitely become a hierarch very soon." Hierarch Cloud Blue nodded with appreciation in her eyes. However, Niemo is also very bold. It is too dangerous for a peak Huang Zun to enter the fallen star realm. Moreover, he is a one-thought Huang Zun. Although his attack power is strong, his close defense is bound to be weak. Once he is surrounded, especially in a narrow battlefield like the Cold Valley, it will be very dangerous. He is not afraid of a peak Huang Zun, but if he meets a hierarch expert, it will be very troublesome. The gap between Huang Zun and a hierarch is too big. Kai Jing Huang Zun felt the same way. Hierarch Hui Hong said, "Our team just happens to lack a long-range attack expert like Brother Niemo. Our personalities are similar, so we can explore together. With our protection, Brother Niemo will not only be able to steadily attack, but he will also not have to worry about his own safety." Hierarch Hui Hong swung the hammer in his hand. His domineering aura covered the sky. In terms of defense, he was as strong as a mid-level hierarch or even stronger. He was the stabilizing force of the team. The three of them had their own strength. Hierarch Cloudblue was the most well-rounded and had the strongest attack power. His understanding of the time heavenly way was amazing. Kai Jing Huang Zun was agile and was good at changing space, tracking, and escaping. While they were talking, Lin Feng, who had his eyes closed, suddenly stood up. Hierarch Cloudblue and the other two looked at him in surprise. Someone is coming. Lin Feng had been controlling the 108 nether sand swords the entire time. None of the movements around him could be hidden from him. Naturally, he was very clear. 3 humans and 2 special lifeforms. They should also be here to complete a mission. Whoosh! The expressions of Hierarch Cloudblue and the other two changed. It was obviously very troublesome to encounter them at such a critical time. Brother Niemo's sensing ability is really outstanding. Hierarch Cloudblue looked at Lin Feng in admiration. He had not sensed any aura until now. Can you sense their strength? Yes. Lin Feng nodded. 3 humans are mid-level hierarch gods. 2 special lifeforms are primary-level hierarch gods. The faces of Hierarch Cloudblue and the other 2 turned pale. Chapter 2692. 3 mid-level ultimate gods and 2 primary-level ultimate gods. No wonder Hierarch Yunlan and the other 2 looked terrified. Their opponents were much stronger than them. Including Lin Feng, they had 2 primary-level ultimate gods and 2 peak Huang Zun. Not only were they outnumbered, but they were also a whole level behind. They had to run as far as they could when encountering such opponents on the battlefield. Battle? They would not even know how they died. However, the treehouse's passageways were narrow. Although there were many passageways, it was not easy to avoid them. Moreover, they had already completed half of the Blackpool Jade Spirit's mission and could easily obtain it. Most importantly, they had nowhere to run. They're here. Hierarch Yunlan's voice was low and suppressed. He had already sensed the 5 powerful auras mentioned by Lin Feng. Even the 2 primary-level ultimate gods' auras were stronger than his and Hui Hong's because they were special lifeforms. They were definitely not ordinary primary-level ultimate gods if they could form a team with mid-level ultimate gods. Hierarch Hui Hong spread his energy source on his giant hammer and was ready for battle. The 5 ultimate gods' auras were firmly locked onto them. It was extremely difficult to escape. Kai Jing Huang Zun's pretty face was pale as she gritted her teeth. She was the weakest among the 4. She was originally trained by Hierarch Yunlan and Hui Hong. It was already good enough that she did not drag them down in a real battle. Whoosh! A clear spatial fluctuation came and dense diamond-shaped lattices appeared in the treehouse's passageway. Hierarch Yunlan and the other 2 looked even worse. It was a domain-type perfect chaos treasure. Perfect chaos treasures were extremely rare in the battle order space. No cultivator would exchange for a perfect chaos treasure unless they were in desperate need of battle merits, let alone a domain-type perfect chaos treasure. It was a great weapon in the Supreme God Realm battlefield. The most valuable chaos treasures on Hierarch Yunlan and Hui Hong were only top-level chaos treasures. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. 5 figures appeared separately, 3 human mid-level ultimate gods and 2 special life-form primary-level ultimate gods. Just as Lin Feng had said, the leader was a skinny mid-level ultimate god with 2 protruding horns on his forehead. He wore a black and gold cloak and had the strongest aura. Brother Jia, it's the Black Pool Jade sprite. The special life form, Ancient Shell, revealed a look of pleasant surprise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, haha, exactly 5. Another special life form, Qi Mao Lu, had a sharp voice that pierced the eardrums. Divine Revered Qi Jia. Divine Revered Cloud Blue's face turned solemn. Yun Lan, a mid-level ultimate god wearing a black and gold cloak, looked at Hierarch Yunlan with sharp eyes. They were both at the Starfall stage, and they were all humans. Even if they had never met each other, they knew each other's characteristics and names. After all, there weren't many 6-star human warriors on the Meteor Fall continent. Take the Black Pool Jade. When Hierarch Yunlan sensed Divine Revered Qi Jie's aura, he wanted to take the Black Pool Jade, but he didn't because it was a bargaining chip. Although he knew there wasn't much hope since Divine Revered Qi Jie's reputation wasn't that good, they were all humans, so there was still a chance. If Divine Revered Qi Jie took the Black Pool Jade sprite, he would let them live. Oh! Divine Revered Qi Jie laughed with a hint of mockery. You know what's good for you. Divine Revered Qi Jie's reputation is like thunder to my ears. I've always respected you. I hope you can let this go since we're all humans, said Hierarch Yunlan. What if I say no? Divine Master Qi Jie sized up Divine Master Cloudblue like a cat catching a mouse. He enjoyed Divine Master Cloudblue's flattering attitude. Hierarch Yunlan pursed his lips tightly. Injuries are inevitable in a battle. If we fight to the death and perish together, Divine Revered Qi Jie will be injured even if you win. Why bother? Hierarch Yunlan looked straight at Divine Revered Qi Jie. He knew Divine Revered Qi Jie's temperament. If they compromised, perhaps Divine Revered Qi Jie would let them live. However, Hierarch Yunlan could not and would not do that. As a Divine Revered Qi Jie, what was the point of keeping his life if he abandoned his dignity? Ha 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 ha! Divine Revered Qi Jie looked up and laughed as if he had heard something ridiculous. Did I hear wrong? Perish together? I'll be injured? Yunlan, are you naive or are you stupid? Do you think you're qualified to injure me? Don't you think you're overestimating yourself? Not only Divine Revered Qi Jie, but the other 4 mid-level Divine Revered gods and special life forms also laughed. In their opinion, what Divine Revered Qi Jie said was ridiculous. How dare these 4 little guys challenge them? Where did they get their confidence from? Hierarch Yunlan, Hierarch Hui Hong, and Huang Zun turned pale. They knew what was going to happen next. Clearly, their opponents had no intention of letting them go. Today's battle was inevitable. Yunlan, Kaiqing, Niemo, the 3 of you split up and run. I'll cover you. Hierarch Hui Hong's origin power surged as his giant hammer rolled like thunder. He did not say anything unnecessary and only had an endless desire to fight. He was even more arrogant than Hierarch Yunlan. Even if he died, he would not compromise. Oh, are you angry? Divine Revered Qi Jie looked at Hierarch Hui Hong with a cold smile and blinked. Why? Do you want to fight me? I'm afraid you're not strong enough. Looking at Hierarch Cloudblue, Hierarch Qi Jie said with a hint of pity, Cloudblue, if you had given in and begged me, perhaps I would have spared your lives and left the ultimate treasure of the chaos behind. How dare you threaten me? Haha, you've got guts. I, Divine Revered Qi Jie, can eat anything but threats. If you have the ability to injure me, come and try. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Before he could finish his sentence, an ear-piercing sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Countless beams of light appeared from the back of the tree hole. It was as if countless crossbowmen had fired their crossbows. The beams of light shot out in all directions and headed straight for the 5 supreme gods. The domain is ineffective? Divine revered Chi Jie's expression changed and his eyes widened. It's a soul-controlling treasure. There are other hierarchs. Divine revered Chi Jie did not even look at Hierarch Yunlan and the other 3 hierarchs. The one hiding in the dark was the real threat, as he could silently release so many control-type attacks. It was soul origin power. It was a rare one-thought ultimate god in the divine realm battlefield. Boom! 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 The nether sand swords came from behind and ignited the battle. 108 nether sand swords exploded in an instant and caught divine revered Chi Jie and the other hierarchs off guard. There were too many of them and their attack power was too amazing. Although it was only the first level of attack, Lin Feng's control was already at its limit. The power of soul origin power itself was amazing, and each nether sand sword had the attack power of a primary level ultimate god. The power of 108 nether sand swords was even more terrifying. Chapter 2693. It was equivalent to 108 primary level ultimate gods attacking at the same time. Ultimate god Chi Jie was the strongest among them and was able to hold his ground. However, the other 2 mid-level ultimate gods were barely holding on, and the 2 primary level ultimate gods were in a difficult situation. The terrain was too narrow. 4 cultivators who were strong in close combat. The narrow terrain was undoubtedly extremely advantageous in close combat. However, there was no advantage to speak of when facing a one-thought ultimate god who controlled a perfect chaos treasure. No matter how good one's body movements were, they could not avoid the flying dark sand swords. The only way was to defend. Damn it! Behind us! How dare you sneak attack us? Despicable! Ultimate god Chi Jie and the other 4 were furious. The 108 dark sand swords attack came from behind them. Subconsciously, they thought the enemy was behind them and did not expect the real enemy to be right in front of them. In fact, Lin Feng was hiding behind ultimate god Hui Hong and was inconspicuous. However, if Supreme God Chi Jie were to carefully sense it, he would be able to discover that the origin soul force fluctuations on Lin Feng's body were exactly the same as those of the 108 nether sand swords, but at this moment they were trapped and had no time to sense it. Niamo? Ultimate god Yunlan, who was close by, widened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng in shock. Ultimate god Yunlan had one eye on the battle while the other was staring at Lin Feng. He noticed something was wrong and his heartbeat quickened as he felt suffocated. Ultimate god Hui Hong's bell-like eyes widened. He stood still, but his body was stiff and did not know what to do. Although he did not turn his head, he was the closest to Lin Feng. How could he not sense it? He originally planned to cover the retreat and let Ultimate God Yunlan and the other 2 escape separately. However, the situation had suddenly changed. Niemo, who had been unknown all this while, was only at the peak of Huang Zun's level. However, he could control such a powerful chaos treasure and unleash such terrifying attack power. 1 against 5. That was amazing. The situation was chaotic. Ultimate God Hui Hong and Ultimate God Yunlan did not know what to do. However, they knew Niemo had already made his move. They could not just abandon their companions and escape, but if they helped, he was also afraid of alerting the enemy and letting Supreme God Chi Jie discover Lin Feng. Most importantly, with their strength, it seemed that they would not be of much help. Chi. The 2 weakest primary-level ultimate gods were already covered in blood and injuries. The 3 mid-level ultimate gods led by Ultimate God Chi Jie were in a bit of a mess, but they were still able to hold on. From this, one could see the difference in strength. This was also the reason why Lin Feng continued to cultivate the Mirage Ocean Dark Sand. There was a limit to the power of the Mirage Ocean Dark Sand's first level of attack. Even if Lin Feng's origin soul power increased and his spirit control became stronger, the power of the Dark Sand Sword alone would not increase by much unless Lin Feng became a first thought Yuan venerate. His internal universe is actually so strong. Godly Master Qi Jie was both shocked and furious. In a battle between supremacies, one's internal universe was the most direct. When one's internal universe suppressed one's opponent, one would be suppressed in all aspects. However, one's opponent's internal universe was actually above his. He had the advantage of domain and even had 5 ultimate gods on his side. Seeing that 2 of his teammates were injured made Godly Master Qi Jie even more anxious. His domain was fully opened, and blood-red light burned all over his body. Rays of light flashed, and with Supreme God Qi Jie's roar, green-white giant dragons soared out of the domain, biting all of the nether sand swords. For a moment, the entire space and time were completely frozen as all the power was occupied by the 100 dragons. A perfect chaotic treasure. This was Godly Master Qi Jie's trump card, and also his most powerful move. As the captain, he naturally would not allow himself to be suppressed like this. The other party was only one person and had completely suppressed the 5 of them. If news of this got out, he would lose face. Boom, boom, boom. The entire tree hole seemed to be on the verge of exploding. Godly Master Qi Jie's blood-red eyes were filled with domineering aura as the 100 dragons circled around him. At the moment, he was like an invincible god. The 108 dark sand swords were blasted out of sight, and the 4 teammates who had been struggling to resist felt relief. On the other side, Godly Master Yunlan and Godly Master Hui Hong had extremely ugly expressions. Too powerful. Godly Master Qi Jie's name was extremely well known in the Fallen Star realm. His strength was gained through battle after battle, especially his perfect domain-type chaotic treasure. It was extremely famous. Combined with his internal universe, he could even compete with a high-level ultimate god. It was over. Godly Master Yunlan's face was ashen, while Godly Master Hui Hong's majestic body trembled slightly. However, at that moment, whoosh, 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 whoosh. At the same time, the 5 flying swords appeared again. They were very similar to the small flying swords from before, but their form, energy, and other aspects were obviously improved. They were also faster and more powerful. 5 times dark sand swords. Each dark sand sword had fused with 5 illusory seas and was surrounded by rich soul origin power. As soon as the 5 times dark sand swords appeared, they directly pierced through Godly Master Qi Jie's domain. Attack against attack. The dark sand swords were extremely small and suffered very little domain suppression. Although the 5 times dark sand swords were 5 times bigger than the previous swords, it was completely negligible compared to the domain suppression that a venerable would suffer. Especially Lin Feng's internal universe, which was stronger than Godly Master Qi Jie's. What? Godly Master Qi Jie was flustered. He originally thought that he had turned the tables and defeated his opponent, but he did not expect that Godly Master Yin Yen, who was hiding in the dark, had yet to use his true killing move. This time, the flying swords he controlled were much stronger than before. No! Ah! The 2 primary-level ultimate gods were terrified. They were already injured and in imminent danger. How could they resist the dark sand swords that were 5 times stronger than a mid-level ultimate god? They were instantly killed. They did not even have a chance to escape in the narrow area. No matter how strong Godly Master Qi Jie was, he could not save them. Even Godly Master Qi Jie himself could not protect himself. The 5 times dark sand swords were attacking with all their might. 3 of them attacked Godly Master Qi Jie, because his strength was obviously above the other 2 mid-level ultimate gods. Come out! Godly Master Qi Jie roared angrily. If he wanted to attack Godly Master Yin Yen, who was hiding in the dark, he had to pass through the obstruction of the flying swords. However, it was impossible to pass through unscathed as the flying sword's attack speed was much faster than his movement speed. The narrow area was completely set up for godly master Yin. He could not even use half of his strength here. Amidst the roars, the other two mid-level ultimate gods were also injured. The 5 times Dark Sand Sword's attack power was not to be underestimated, especially when Lin Feng's control had improved a lot. The Dark Sand Sword's attack had its own illusory sea effect and Lin Feng's 9 hells evil qi which affected one's mind. The scale was instantly tilted. Beside Lin Feng, Godly Master Yunlan and Godly Master Huihong were completely stunned. Chapter 2694. It was over. Among the 5 ultimate gods led by Ultimate God Qijie, 3 mid-level ultimate gods and 2 primary-level ultimate gods were all dead. The small space in the tree-hole passage became their grave. They might have had a chance to escape if they were in other places. However, they had nowhere to run in that narrow space with fixed passages and route. Every area was under Lin Feng's control. Once a ultimate god, one thought of the object control system took control of the battle situation. He was quite powerful. No matter how fast one's flying speed was, it could not be faster than one's attacking speed. Ultimate God Yunlan, Ultimate God Huihong, Kai Jing, and Huang Zun were completely stunned. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed that Lin Feng alone could create such a miracle. No matter what method he used, a win was a win. Especially Lin Feng's final attack that killed Ultimate God Qijie. What did that mean? It meant that Lin Feng had the ability to do so from the beginning. The previous stalemate was only because Lin Feng did not use his full strength and did not reveal his trump card. Which expert in the Supreme God World battlefield did not have a trump card? Ultimate God Qijie was the same. If he had not revealed his trump card and instantly attacked Lin Feng might not have used his killer move. However, Ultimate God Yunlan and the other two did not know that it was far from Lin Feng's trump card. Lin Feng's real trump card was the Source C's impact. It was much stronger than the object control attack and could even kill a high-level ultimate god instantly. Lin Feng could challenge a peak ultimate god with the Source C's impact alone. However, there were no recovery treasures in the Source C, and it would take a long time to recover if he used it. Therefore, Lin Feng usually used the illusory sea serene sand. Even so, the 32-fold serene sand sword that killed Ultimate God Qijie was far from Lin Feng's limit. Lin Feng's soul control had reached 7 times that of a ultimate god one thought. He had already grasped the 32x serene sand sword at 25x. With 7x soul control, Lin Feng was able to control the serene sand sword at 81x. Compared to the 32x serene sand sword, its power was more than 10 times stronger. Quite a lot of battle credits. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile when he saw the explosive increase in his battle credit. Among the 5 ultimate gods, the weakest was a primary-level ultimate god, and every single one of them was a 6-star ultimate god. Although several of them exchanged their battle merits for chaotic ultimate treasures after becoming 6-star ultimate warriors, the 5 of them had accumulated a total of 3 million battle merit. Moreover, all of them were killed by someone of a higher cultivation level. 200 battle achievements. Not only that, but the Chaos Ultimate treasures they exchanged with their battle merits were also very valuable, especially the only perfect domain-type Chaos Ultimate treasure that Supreme God Qijie had. It was worth more than 5 million battle merit. 7126468. Lin Feng's battle merits returned to 7 digits, surpassing 7 million. When he first came out of Miracle, he only had 70,000 battle points left. Now it had increased by 100-fold. For Lin Feng, whose true combat strength was comparable to that of a peak ultimate god or even ultimate god, it was too easy to accumulate battle merits since he was killing people of a higher cultivation level in every battle. He had collected a pile of top-grade Chaos Ultimate Treasures, but did not exchange them for the perfect Chaos Ultimate Treasures because there was nothing particularly valuable in the Battle Order Treasure Vault for the time being. In the Fallen Star mainland, top-grade Chaos Ultimate Treasures were almost the highest-level treasures in the Battle Order Space's Treasure Vault. The maximum was 10 million battle merit. Moreover, such treasures could only be found by chance. Currently, the highest value in the Battle Order Treasure Vault was a top-grade Space-Time Chaos Ultimate Treasure with 7,770,000 battle merit. Generally speaking, a domain-type Chaos Ultimate Treasure was more valuable because it had a greater impact on close-range attacks and could improve one's internal universe while suppressing the opponent's internal universe. However, Lin Feng didn't need it. The 7,770,000 battle merits Space-Time Chaos Ultimate Treasure wasn't necessarily better than the one Ultimate God Qi Jie had. Besides, Lin Feng already had a perfect domain-type Chaos Ultimate Treasure, which was enough for him. Unbelievable! Divine Master Yunlan muttered to himself, and couldn't calm down for a long time. Divine Master Hui Hong stood there in a daze as the battle just now replayed in his mind. 5 ultimate gods who were stronger than him were killed so easily by Huang Zun, who was at the peak of his ultimate god stage. The 2 ultimate gods were experienced and knowledgeable, so it wasn't unheard of for them to kill someone who was at a higher level than them. It was the first time. Thinking back on the battle carefully, it was a complete suppression from head to toe. Divine Master Qi Jie clearly saw Lin Feng in front of him at the end, but he couldn't do anything. Lin Feng even faced Divine Master Qi Jie directly without any fear. This meant that Lin Feng had absolute confidence and certainty that he could kill Divine Master Qi Jie in a face-to-face situation. This was too frightening. Niemo, is this really your doing? Huang Zun half covered her small mouth as her beautiful eyes stared at Lin Feng with surprise and admiration. She was also very curious about Lin Feng. This human Huang Zun whom she had just met had too many secrets. He had found the Black Pool Jade in less than 1,000 years. He had single-handedly killed 5 reputable ultimate gods with ease. No wonder he dared to enter the Fallen Star realm alone. It turned out that he wasn't reckless and conceited. He really had the ability to do so. Lin Feng smiled. Sui Er took out the 5 ultimate gods' chaos treasures. There were a total of 9 top-level ultimate chaos treasures, including the perfect ultimate chaos treasure. They floated in the air and exuded pure chaos energy. Everyone has a share. Take one. Lin Feng wasn't a stingy person. He was very touched by the actions of Hierarch Cloud Blue and Hierarch Hui Hong. Although he did not need protection, their kind intentions were hard to come by. Since they were in the same team, it was also because of his adventure that he stayed here. Now that there was a reward, it was only right to share it. No. Divine Master Yunlan refused immediately. Teams have rules. This is your loot, Niemo. We can't take it. Divine Master Hui Hong looked serious. Moreover, with our strength, it's already good enough that we could survive against Divine Master Hui Jie. How can you be so shameless? Yes, Big Brother Niemo, you should take it back. As honored multicolored eyes spoke, she even unconsciously changed the way she addressed him. She had thought that Lin Feng was at the same level as her, the peak Huang Zun, but now her view had completely changed. At the same level? They were far from each other. Lin Feng glanced at the 3 of them and smiled. Take one. I also have something to ask of you. Niemo, just say it. Divine Master Yunlan laughed. We'll help if we can. Yes. Divine Master Hui Hong was concise. Lin Feng nodded. Then I'll get straight to the point. First, I hope that you can keep what happened today a secret. Divine Master Yunlan and the others looked at each other and smiled. Of course. Niemo, you have the strength to kill those of a higher level. It's convenient for you to hide your strength and obtain battle credits. In the eyes of Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other 2, Lin Feng was hiding his strength so that it would be easier for him to obtain 200 battle points. After all, everyone came to the God world for battle credits and treasures. Lin Feng smiled and didn't explain. He just didn't want to attract the attention of Universe 7's adjudicator. Although he might still be discovered in the future, it was better to avoid it. The longer he delayed, the more advantageous it would be for him. There's one more thing. Lin Feng looked to the other side where the Black Pool Jade sprite was. Chapter 2695. 5 Black Pool Jade Fairies. Lin Feng stayed here for them. The Black Pool Jade Fairies were a very special life form. The most peculiar thing about them was that they did not have any aura of life. Lin Feng did not understand at first, but later he did. The Black Pool Jade Fairies were Black Pool Jade. They were a special life form nurtured by the unique environment of the fallen star mainland and belonged to the changeable life system. Rock Spirit. It could evolve or nurture the Black Pool Jade, but it required sufficient nourishment. Lin Feng discovered this in the 300th year. If the Black Pool Jade Fairies were provided with sufficient nourishment, their nurturing speed would be much faster. Lin Feng purposely held the battle with Qi Jie here, so that the Black Pool Jade Fairies would have sufficient nourishment. Of course, the biggest reason was Qi Jie's greed. If not for his insatiable greed, Lin Feng would not have taken the initiative to kill the human ultimate god. After the nurturing is complete, the Black Pool Jade Fairies should disappear and leave behind the Black Pool Jade. Lin Feng said to Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other two, "The quest to find the Black Pool Jade will definitely be completed, and there will be 5 pieces of Black Pool Jade. I hope you can sell 3 pieces to me." Out of the 5 pieces of Black Pool Jade, Lin Feng would get 3 while the trio would get 1 each. This was previously agreed upon because both the Black Pool Jade Fairies and the nurturing process of the Black Pool Jade were discovered by Lin Feng. The Black Pool Jade was a treasure unique to the Fallen Star mainland. From the normal Red Pool Jade to the Purple Red Pool Jade, then to the Purple Black Pool Jade, the Black Pool Jade was the highest grade treasure. Its effects were enhanced in all aspects. They were all super treasures that could improve one's soul control. Lin Feng did not know the specific effects of the Black Pool Jade, but he was sure that it would definitely help him. This was also why Lin Feng was willing to stay here for 500 years to wait for the Black Pool Jade to form. It was extremely difficult to improve one's soul control. That's easy. We have no use for the Black Pool Jade. Hierarch Cloud Blue had accepted the Purple Pool Jade's mission and had been on the Fallen Star mainland for countless eras. He was well aware of the effects of this type of treasure. Indeed, it was useful to Niemo because Niemo was the one thought Huang Zun. But to people who didn't cultivate the soul, treasures that could improve the quality of the soul were still useful. What use would treasures that could improve the control of the soul be? "Take it, Niemo," Supreme God Huihong said. "We just need to complete the mission and get 300,000 battle merits." "Yes, Big Brother Niemo, you don't have to be so polite. It was you who discovered it," Kai Jing Huang Zun said with a smile. Lin Feng smiled. He could feel everyone's sincerity. Together with them, they were as harmonious as brothers and sisters. "Everyone, please pick one. Otherwise, I'll feel uneasy." Lin Feng said to the 3 of them, "As you know, I don't need these top-grade close combat treasures of the chaos. They're just a last resort. Big Brother Niemo, you can exchange them for battle merits." Kai Jing Huang Zun was puzzled. "I have enough battle merits." Lin Feng smiled. "I got more than 7 million battle merits from the battle just now." More than 7 million. Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other 2 were speechless and trembling in fear. It was already difficult for them to accumulate 1 million battle merits to become a 6-star warrior, but Niemo had earned 7 million battle merits in one battle. Comparisons were odious. However, it made sense after giving it some thought. Niemo was a peak Huang Zun. Killing an ultimate god expert, even a primary-level ultimate god, would earn him 200 battle merit. That was terrifying. Killing a primary level ultimate god of the same level would only earn them 50 battle merit. Moreover, primary level ultimate gods of the same level were not easy to kill. Every primary level ultimate god had a trump card and might not be able to kill them in a battle of life and death. Usually, only when one's strength was completely superior could one kill them. Take it. Lin Feng smiled. You know, the Black Pool Jade is very helpful to me. Remember to look for me if you can get more Black Pool Jade in the future. Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other two looked at each other. All right then. Hierarch Cloud Blue smiled. If you continue to refuse, I'm not treating you as a friend anymore. Hierarch Cloud Blue then took one of the primordial chaos treasures. Hierarch Hui Hong and Huang Zun each took one as well. The 3 primordial chaos treasures were not expensive and were considered mid-tier among the 9 primordial chaos treasures. It was obvious that Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other two did not want to take advantage of Lin Feng. As for the only perfect primordial chaos treasure, the 3 of them would not take it. It was too valuable. Lin Feng took it out because he did not care. However, it would be too shameless of Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other two to take it. They were also ultimate gods and would not do something so shameful. The Black Pool Jade Spirit has absorbed enough nutrients from this battle. It'll be done in 100 years at most. Lin Feng observed the changes in the Black Pool Jade Spirit and had a rough idea. There shouldn't be any changes in the next 100 years. Hierarch Cloud Blue was still a little afraid when he thought about it. The area was too narrow, and they would not be able to escape if they encountered danger. Brother Cloud Blue is so timid. What's there to be afraid of with Brother Niemo around? Kaijing Huang Zun chuckled and blinked. If those ultimate gods still dare to covet the treasure, they'll only bring trouble upon themselves. Hierarch Hui Hong laughed. You're right. With Niemo around, we don't have to be afraid of anyone in the Starfall realm. The 3 of them smiled knowingly. They had never felt such safety before. Although they were very strong, the Starfall realm was the most dangerous place apart from the Starfall Tower. Primary level ultimate gods were the most ordinary combat power. There were many teams like Hierarch Chi Jia, and the best they could do was to stay alive. However, they were already lucky that they did not provoke others. Who would dare to provoke them? They would end up like Hierarch Chi Jia. Niemo was too strong. Lin Feng smiled. By the way, do you know how to complete the treasure thief mission? He had 2 6-star missions. One was the Black Pool Jade mission, and the other was the treasure thief mission. The Black Pool Jade mission was basically completed, but the treasure thief mission was not complete yet. If possible, Lin Feng still hoped to complete it. Treasure thief. Hierarch Cloud Blue pondered and said softly, this mission is very dependent on luck. Yes. Kaijing Huang Zun said, lucky ultimate gods can easily run into the treasure thief. If not, they might not run into it even after hundreds of eras. It's not like the Black Pool Jade mission where there's a time limit and you can find it if you're patient. I see. Lin Feng did not insist. Missions that relied on luck were not suitable for him. Hierarch Cloud Blue said, even if you run into the treasure thief, it's extremely difficult to catch it. It's proficient in the Tao of space and time with amazing speed. Even if you catch it, it'll immediately escape. Even if it escapes, at least the mission is considered completed and we can get the key, said Hierarch Hui Hong. If we really want to catch the treasure thief, I think only a peak ultimate god can do it. What's the key for? Lin Feng curiously asked. Chapter 2696. Keys are used to unlock the Fallen Star treasure map. Hierarch Yunlan smiled. There are 2 types of keys. One is the star key and the other is the grade key. Only treasure thieves have these 2 types of keys. Star key? Grade key? Can't you get the treasure directly from the Fallen Star treasure map? Lin Feng was puzzled. Hierarch Cloud Blue explained. The 108 Fallen Star diagrams can be combined into a complete Fallen Star treasure map. That's where the key is used. There are 2 types of star class keys. One is silver, and you'll get a 2-star treasure. The other is gold, and you'll get a 3-star treasure. So that's how it is. Lin Feng nodded in realization. Star keys are very rare. Normally, the reward for a treasure thief mission is a grade key. Hierarch Yunlan continued. The grade key can determine the type of treasure map that can be unlocked. There are 3 types: fruit key, treasure key, and secret technique key. For example, if you get a fruit key, you can unlock the Fallen Star treasure map with a fruit key. In other words, it determines the type of treasure. Lin Feng understood. Although it seemed useful, it was not very useful. For example, there were many types of fruit. If he got a fruit that strengthened his willpower, it would not be of much use to him. Hierarch Yunlan nodded. Yes, the star key is precious. The grade key is usually not that valuable. Most importantly, the treasure thief mission is not that dangerous. If you're lucky, you can get it. Hence, the reward is average. 99% of the rewards for completing the mission were grade keys. The star key was too rare. Lin Feng nodded. Since his curiosity was satisfied, the treasure thief mission was not that attractive to him. Moreover, the reward was not that valuable. Even if it was a rare star key or a silver star key, it would not be that useful if it was not suitable for unlocking a 2-star Fallen Star treasure map. Unless he got a gold star key to unlock a 3-star Fallen Star treasure map. However, was that possible? Lin Feng did not think he was that lucky. The other ultimate gods only got grade keys after completing the mission. How could he get a star key? And a gold star key at that? That was just wishful thinking. Instead of spending so much time looking for treasure thieves, he might as well think about how to improve his strength. 100 years. The nurturing of the Black Pool Jade spirit was gradually completed. The rare Black Pool Jade was formed and contained a unique soul energy. It was one of the rare treasures that could directly strengthen one's soul control. To Lin Feng, no amount of battle merits was worth it. However, to Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other 2, the Black Pool Jade was not that useful. It's about to take shape. Even so, Hierarch Cloud Blue and the others waited patiently. Hierarch Cloud Blue and the others had repaid the favor by witnessing the formation of the Black Pool Jade and giving it to Niemo. However, what they were most curious about was how strong this mysterious human Niemo was. Mid-level ultimate god? High-level ultimate god? Or perhaps comparable to a peak ultimate god? Hierarch Yunlan and the other 2 were bewildered at the thought of that. They had never thought that there would be a peak ultimate god like Huang Zun with combat strength comparable to a peak ultimate god. It was undoubtedly a fantasy. The gap between the Divine Master and Huang Zun was huge. But looking at Niemo now, he suddenly felt that the gap wasn't that big. Peak ultimate god? I'm not that powerful. Lin Feng smiled. Although he was indeed comparable to a peak ultimate god, he could only rely on his source sea. There was still a gap in the power of the Mirage Sea Serene Sand. You're already very powerful, Hierarch Cloud Blue smiled bitterly. I've never seen one thought Huang Zun being this powerful before. I'm just lucky, Lin Feng said humbly. Kai Qing Huang Zun's beautiful eyes twinkled as she smiled. I'm guessing Big Brother Niemo's combat strength is not only at the mid-level ultimate god level, but also at the high-level ultimate god level. Am I right? Hierarch Cloud Blue rolled his eyes. Who doesn't know? It was impossible to fight 1 against 5 and kill all 5 of them without the combat strength of a high-level ultimate god. Hierarch Cloud Blue had long known about that. Lin Feng smiled and did not explain. Suddenly, Big Brother Niemo, look! The multicolored emperor pointed at the Black Pool Jade that was gradually taking shape and exclaimed. At this time, the Black Pool Jade Fairy had completely turned into Black Pool Jade. The Black Pool Jade Fairy was like a piece of paper, peeling off from the top of the Black Pool Jade. The translucent Black Pool Jade contained a shocking amount of energy. It was like a beautiful flower that was about to bloom. Swoosh! Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up as his soul origin force surged. The Mirage Sea serene sand in the Source Sea was rapidly forming. Just as Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other two were staring at the black pool jade, the space in the treehouse passage inexplicably caved in and fluctuated violently. It was a treehouse passage that even ultimate god Chi Jia could not destroy. However, at this moment, the space waves and the time ripples were combined in a weird way. A short shadow that was emitting golden light and carrying a cloth bag that was even larger than its body appeared stealthily from the sunken space with squeaking noises. Snap! Time stopped in an instant. The appearance of the short golden figure broke through space. With a single step, his body turned into a series of afterimages. In an instant, he appeared where the 5 black pool jade fairies were. With a swing of the cloth bag, he wanted to take all 5 black pool jade fairies in one fell swoop. It was slow at first, but it was fast at the next moment. A long sword appeared in the blink of an eye, piercing through the air and stabbing towards the short golden figure as he picked up the sack. 32-fold dark sand sword. Whoosh! The nether sand sword, imbued with rich soul source strength, directly pierced through the short golden figure. But it was only an afterimage. The short golden figure let out a squeaking sound, an unpleasant and strange sound. It lifted the bag and stared fiercely at Lin Feng. It was so close to taking all 5 black pool jades, but that was the difference between heaven and earth. I knew you would come, treasure thief. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly as the 10-fold dark sand swords flew around the treasure thief, vaguely forming a sword array. The 32-fold dark sand sword that had stabbed at the small golden figure had disappeared before it could hit. The one who had come was the treasure thief. Squeak! Squeak! The treasure thief's body flashed with golden light. After failing to take the black pool jades the first time, it would not have another chance. It would not fight with the human in front of it, because its goal was only the treasure. Chi! Who? Space changed instantly. The treasure thief had failed to steal the black pool jades and wanted to escape. Although the space was locked by the dark sand sword, the treasure thief's spatial abilities were very strong, and its speed was very fast. It directly flew into a treehouse passage, increasing the distance between it and Lin Feng. You're here, and you still want to escape? Lin Feng's fighting spirit sword. A never-before-seen, giant, dark sand sword suddenly appeared in front of him. Clang! The giant dark sand sword emitted a powerful aura, covering the sky. 78-fold dark sand sword. Chapter 2697. This was Lin Feng's most powerful killing move. The 78x serene sand sword. Because there were 3 10x serene sand swords outside, the maximum he could control was the 78x serene sand sword. Although it hadn't reached the 81x serene sand sword's limit, it wasn't inferior to Lin Feng's. With 10x serene sand sword, he could fuse all 108 Mirage Seas to form the perfect Mirage Sea sword. He could also start cultivating the 3rd level of the Mirage Sea serene sand. Although Lin Feng hadn't reached 10x, the 81x serene sand sword was already very strong. Every time he increased his strength by a fold, it was real. Chi. The target of the 78x serene sand sword was the treasure thief. The previous 3 10x serene sand swords were just to block the treasure thief's escape route and force it into the treehouse passage. If the treasure thief escaped through space, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to do anything to it. But if it left through the treehouse passage, the narrow area was destined to be its grave. No matter how fast the treasure thief was, it couldn't be faster than the serene sand sword's attack. Especially the 78x serene sand sword, which contained an enormous amount of origin soul power. When it exploded, its speed was much faster than the 10x serene sand sword. Not only was it faster, but its attack power was also much stronger. Pooh! The moment the 78x serene sand sword flew out, it directly pierced through the treasure thief. Creak! Creak! The treasure thief let out an unpleasant sound, its face twisted, and its body shattered like a mirror. The bag on its back disappeared along with the treasure thief and fell into the treehouse passage. The battle ended in an instant. But behind Lin Feng, Hierarch Yunlan, Hierarch Hui Hong, and Kai Qing Huang Zun were all stunned. Were their eyes playing tricks on them? The treasure thief was killed by Lin Feng? They only knew that the treasure thief could be caught, but they had never heard that the treasure thief could be killed. This was too exaggerated. What was even more ridiculous was that even the 100 treasures pouch, which thieves always carried with them, was shot down. What a terrifying attack speed! Hierarch Yunlan muttered to himself, his heart trembling. The flying sword that suddenly appeared was so fast that it made his hair stand on end. The speed of one thought Hierarch Yunlan's control represented the power of his control. This flying sword was too powerful. It was at least 10 times stronger than the flying sword that had killed Supreme God Qi Jie. Honorable God Hui Hong's eyes widened. He was completely suffocated. This was Nie Mo's true strength. Like Hierarch Yunlan, he had been in the Fallen Star realm for a long time and was very knowledgeable. Nie Mo's attack had obviously exceeded the power of a high-level ultimate god. No, it had exceeded the power of an ordinary peak ultimate god. Killing a treasure thief didn't rely on luck, but real strength. Invincible. Ding. In Lin Feng's battle order space, the treasure thief mission had been completed and the reward was a mechanical square key. Lin Feng had learned from Hierarch Cloudblue that this was a treasure-type key. After opening the Falling Star treasure map with this square key, one could obtain all kinds of treasures, most of which were treasures of the chaos. As for the star grade, that would depend on luck. However, the majority of them were 1-star Fallen Star treasure map. Lin Feng was not surprised. He had been mentally prepared for this. However, I didn't know I could get the treasure bag by killing the treasure thief. Lin Feng opened the treasure bag and was stunned. The interspatial space in the treasure bag was full of treasures. In addition to many treasures of the chaos, there were all kinds of strange fruit. Lin Feng was most familiar with the special products of the Falling Star continent. Purple Pool Jade, Purple Black Pool Jade, and Black Pool Jade. In the treasure thief's 100 treasure pouch, there were quite a few of these jades. Even the most precious Black Pool Jade had a total of 7 pieces. There were dozens of Purple Black Pool Jades and countless Purple Pool Jade. What a great harvest! Lin Feng smiled with satisfaction. The various treasures of the chaos were not very useful to him and could only be exchanged for some battle merits. However, the various fruits and jades could really improve his strength. They could not be bought outside no matter how many chaos gems one had. Brother Nie Mo, you are amazing. Hierarch Cloudblue was full of admiration. Witnessing this miracle with his own eyes made him admire Lin Feng from the bottom of his heart. From the moment the treasure thief appeared to the moment he stole the Black Pool Jade, only a moment had passed. However, Lin Feng had completely grasped that moment. Trap, kill, all done in one go. He did not give the treasure thief any chance to breathe or escape. He killed him cleanly with a sword strike. Not only did he complete the mission, but he also obtained the treasure bag. There were so many precious treasures inside that it made people envious. So the treasure thief mission can be completed like this. Hierarch Hui Hong sighed. He was still shocked when he thought of Nie Mo's attack. Only with absolute strength could one have absolute power. Brother Nie Mo, what key did you get? Kai Jing and Huang Zun asked curiously. A grade key. Do you want it? Lin Feng took out a square mechanical key and handed it to the three. It was the first time the three had seen a key. They looked at it curiously. A treasure key is better than a secret technique inheritance key or a fruit key, Hierarch Cloudblue said. I'll give it to you if you want it. Lin Feng smiled. I can't accept it. Hierarch Cloudblue laughed and declined. Nie Mo, you might need it in the future. You don't have to give it to us. I have more, Lin Feng said. More? Hierarch Cloudblue and the other two were stunned. Where did it come from? How many keys could a mission reward be? While Hierarch Yunlan and the others were still trying to figure out what was going on, a silver light flashed in Lin Feng's hand, and a bright silver key appeared. The bright light made Hierarch Yunlan's breathing quicken. A star key. It was a 2-star treasure map key. It was priceless. And this one. As soon as Lin Feng took out the silver key, he immediately took out another key. The golden light completely covered the brilliance of the silver key, causing everything else to pale in comparison. The golden key symbolized nobility and the pinnacle. It was the rarest and rarest golden star key. With this golden star key, one could open the top floor of the meteor shower tower, where the meteor shower tower was located. This was a supreme treasure that even Yuan venerate powerhouses would covet. A golden star key only existed in legends. Now, however, he was standing right in front of Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other 2 sovereigns, allowing them to see his true face. This. Hierarch Cloud Blue and the others were so shocked that they couldn't speak. That was the key to the meteor shower tower. The 3 stars fallen star treasure was a legend on the fallen star continent. It was the ultimate treasure that could be obtained from the battlefield of the supreme god world. No matter what kind of treasure it was the best kind of treasure. If it was a chaos ultimate treasure, it was at least a peak chaos ultimate treasure. If it was an inheritance, one could even obtain a supreme inheritance of an almighty. Chapter 2698. Lin Feng was not interested in the super inheritance of an almighty. He was already under the tutelage of ancestral patriarch Taichung. Besides, the inheritance might not be suitable for him. Most importantly, Lin Feng had his own path to walk. The path of primordial chaos supremacy was irreversible. Since he had embarked on this path, Lin Feng was destined to be unable to turn back. He would either succeed or perish. Even so, the 3-star fallen star treasure trove was not bad. No one would complain about having too many good things. Just like the purple pool jade, purple black pool jade, and black pool jade. Even though the purple pool jade's effect was not as good as the black pool jade, it was still something. If it could improve one's soul control, even 0.01 times would be good. Lin Feng did not count the number of purple pool jades in his interspatial pouch, but there were at least a few thousand of them. He had seen the purple pool jade reward in a 4-star mission, and the purplish-black pool jade in a 5-star mission. The black pool jade was undoubtedly of the highest grade, and was also the highest grade treasure in the fallen star continent. It could only be obtained in 6-star missions. 7 pieces of black pool jade. Including these 5 pieces, I have a total of 12 pieces. Lin Feng smiled. The joy of obtaining the gold star key was not as great as the black pool jade, as he knew what the black pool jade could improve. At the moment, it was something he urgently needed. There were many treasures in the interspatial pouch, but only the black pool jade was of the highest grade. Hierarch Yunlan and the other 2 were still in shock. The silver star key and the gold star key were both extremely precious. Everyone in the fallen star mainland would fight for it. Although the fallen star treasure map was hard to come by, it could be obtained with enough time. However, the treasure was easy to obtain, but the key was hard to obtain. The 3-star fallen star treasure map and the 1-star fallen star treasure map were not on the same level. So the gold star key is obtained this way. Hierarch Yunlan murmured. He had always thought that the gold star key was obtained by completing missions and luck. This was an eye-opener. It turned out that he had to kill the treasure thief and obtain his interspatial pouch. However, knowing it was one thing, and being able to obtain it was another matter. Hierarch Yunlan knew that he did not have the ability to kill the treasure thief. The treasure thief came and went without a trace. His mastery of time and space was extremely high. There was no chance for the hierarch experts to kill him. Just the strength of the treasure thief was already extraordinary. As far as Hierarch Yunlan knew, the treasure thief had the strength of a high-level ultimate god, and his speed was even faster than a peak ultimate god. However, the treasure thief did not fight and only stole treasures every time he appeared. Even if he was caught, he would just run away like a wisp of smoke. Even a peak ultimate god could not kill a treasure thief. But this ordinary-looking Nyamo had done it, and he had done it with ease. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. Instant kill. That's amazing. Supreme God Huihong kept shaking his head and sighing. Lin Feng's flying light flying sword was powerful enough to kill a defenseless peak ultimate god. Hence, it was reasonable for him to kill the treasure thief. Big brother Nyamo, how did you know the treasure thief would appear? Kaijing Huangzun could not help but ask. Lin Feng pointed at the Black Pool Jade and the Black Pool Jade sprite that were almost completely transformed. If the Black Pool Jade sprite can nurture Black Pool Jade, then we should be able to find some Black Pool Jade here. Even if someone took it away, there should be some clues or rumors. Hierarch Yunlan and the other two nodded. They had overlooked that point. The Black Pool Jade was an inanimate object and would not disappear for no reason. Since the Black Pool Jade spirit had the ability to cultivate Black Pool Jades, there must be more than 5 pieces in front of them. The treehouse passage was so big that there must be other possibilities. However, they had never found any Black Pool Jades in the Cold Valley. It turned out to be the treasure thief's doing. It shouldn't be just the Cold Valley. There should be similar missions in all the places where the treasure thief might appear to obtain some special treasures. Lin Feng said, however, these ownerless treasures will appear and be taken away as soon as they appear. Hierarch Yunlan and the other two's eyes lit up. Nyamo's words reminded them that there were such special rewards missions in all the places where the treasure thief appeared. In addition to the mission itself, they could also obtain other treasures similar to the Black Pool Jade. Hierarch Yunlan and the other two were not stupid. Nyamo's strength was only at the peak of Huang Zun's level. He would leave after completing the mission in the Cold Valley and continue to explore alone as he did not need any teammate. The 3 of them could not help much. Although Hierarch Yunlan did not want to admit it, he knew they were holding him back. He could not help but blush when he thought of that. After all, they were primary-level ultimate gods and had accumulated so many eras of experience in the Supreme God Realm battlefield. However, they were completely outclassed by a young man at the peak of Huang Zun's level. It was not a big deal as the 3 of them were not narrow-minded people. They had benefited a lot from meeting such a genius expert. If Huang Zun was so strong when he was only at the peak of his level, how strong would he be when he became an ultimate god? I'm afraid he'll be another ultimate god, Yanwu. Hierarch Yunlan looked at Lin Feng and sighed. They were all humans, but the gap between them was huge. After that, Hierarch Yunlan and the other 2 retrieved the Black Pool Jade spirit and completed the mission. Each of them received 300,000 battle merit. To Lin Feng, 300,000 battle points were nothing, but to Hierarch Cloud Blue and the other 2, 300,000 battle points was a lot. It was enough to increase their combat power. The mission to find the Black Pool Jade was supposed to take at least a few eras, but it had been completed in just a little over 1,000 years. Lin Feng was not stingy. He gave each of them a top-level chaotic absolute treasure and other treasures they could choose from the interspatial pouch. It was fate that brought them together. Everyone had their own paths to walk. Although they were reluctant, the 3 of them bid farewell to Lin Feng and continued on their journey to complete the new 6-star mission. It was not easy to kill an ultimate god of the same level. Many 5-star and 6-star warriors relied on missions to accumulate battle merits and increase their combat strength. They did not force themselves to obtain battle merits by killing their opponent. If you wanted to kill others, others would want to kill you as well. On the battlefield of the God world, no one was easy to mess with. I've completed 2 6-star missions. Not bad. Lin Feng was not interested in battle merits, but the 2 missions rewarded him with 2 star-class keys and the Black Pool Jade. Both were things he needed. Moreover, he had improved a lot over the past 1,000 years in the Cold Valley. I'm not in a hurry to find the Falling Star treasure map. I'll go back to the Falling Star Plaza and refine all the Black Pool Jade. I'll exchange them for battle merits and go into seclusion to create the secret method to break through the Source Sea. Lin Feng had enough battle merit. He turned into a stream of light and disappeared. Chapter 2699. A 6-star soul miracle. The required battle merits were quite expensive, 100,000 battle merits for 100 years. Ordinary 6-star warriors usually would not be so extravagant. It was more efficient to choose a 5-star miracle if they wanted to cultivate for a long time. However, Lin Feng did not care. Firstly, he did not need such a long cultivation time. Secondly, he had enough battle merits. Just Divine Master Qi Jie's perfect chaotic ultimate treasure alone was worth more than 5 million battle merits. Moreover, Lin Feng had more than 7 million battle merit. Purple Pool Jade, Purple Black Pool Jade, Black Pool Jade. Lin Feng continued to refine the Purple Pool Jade. The effect of the Purple Pool Jade was the weakest. Of course, this was relative to the Black Pool Jade. Compared to the Purple Red Pool Jade that Lin Feng had refined earlier, the Purple Pool Jade's grade was much higher. However, things were different now. Lin Feng's Sea of Consciousness had turned into Source Sea and his perfect soul power had turned into soul origin power. All aspects had been sublimated. Although the power was stronger, the soul control requirement was also higher and more difficult. The improvement of soul control after refining a piece of Purple Pool Jade was almost negligible. Every 1,000 pieces of Purple Pool Jade could increase soul control by 0.03 times. A total of 6,000 pieces of Purple Pool Jade could increase soul control by nearly 2 times. 33 pieces of Purple Black Pool Jade could increase soul control by 3 times compared to 6,000 pieces of Purple Pool Jade. 12 pieces of Black Pool Jade had the best effect as it increased soul control by nearly 10 times. After all the absorption, the total increase in soul control was more than 15 times. Not only that, but the Black Pool Jade was one of the most precious treasures on the Meteor continent. Not only could it improve one's soul control, it could also slightly strengthen one's soul source, allowing Lin Feng's soul source to reach a higher level. Although his Source Sea had not expanded, Lin Feng's current soul origin power multiplier was already quite shocking. His soul control was 22 times stronger, his origin soul was 9 times stronger, and his Source Sea was 230 times stronger. His soul origin power multiplier had reached an astonishing 45,540 times, which was 4 times stronger than the peak ultimate god limit. Lin Feng was only Huang Zun, who had just made a breakthrough not long ago. Although he was still far behind the peak ultimate god limit by more than 10 or 100 times compared to ultimate gods like ultimate god Yen Wu, Lin Feng was only Huang Zun who had just broken through. Inside the Origin Sea, a transparent and perfect illusory sword took shape. It was like the sword of a king, like the sword of a demon. After fusing the 108 Mirage Seas, the Mirage Sea Nether Sand was formed from the Nether Sand. This was the Mirage Sea Sword with the strongest single target attack. It required one's origin soul force and soul control to reach 10 times the normal in order to control it perfectly. This is a true perfect chaos treasure. Lin Feng was very satisfied. Now that he had 22 times soul control, he could easily control the Mirage Sea Sword. Furthermore, the 9 Hells Baneful Aura was very compatible with the Mirage Sea. Not only could it strengthen the illusions, it also contained the influence of willpower. Complementing the Mirage Sea Sword's power, it was unstoppable. The second level of the Mirage Sea Dark Sand, Perfect Mastery. Although it was only the second level, it was already stronger than the strongest top-grade Chaos Treasure. Lin Feng now possessed the attacking power of a peak ultimate god. The Mirage Sea Sword's attack is enough to compete with most peak ultimate gods. Lin Feng controlled the Mirage Sea Sword as if he had an arm and greatly displayed its power in the miracle of the soul. The Mirage Sea Sword's flying speed was fast and was not afraid of the effects of domain, space, and time changes. It was enough to be called a great killing weapon. It was especially worse for those peak ultimate gods who had poor resistance to illusions. I can also cultivate the third level. The strongest level of the Mirage Sea Serene Sand was the third level, Sword Formation. It required more than 10 times the sole control of the Origin Sea Force. There were a total of 6 sword formations. 10 times the Origin Sea Force could be used to cultivate the 3 light skybreaking formation. 20 times the Origin Sea Force could be used to cultivate the 6 lightless formation. 30 times the Origin Sea Force could be used to cultivate the 12 Theia formations. 50 times the Origin Sea Force could be used to cultivate the 18 Yama formations. 80 times the Origin Sea Force could be used to cultivate the Heavenly Serene Prison formation. 100 times the Origin Sea Force could be used to cultivate the Mirage Sea Samsara formation. The limit of a perfect chaotic ultimate treasure was 100 times the Origin Sea Force. Generally, only the most talented invincible ultimate gods or Yuan venerates with one thought could achieve this. The 3 light skybreaking formation was a sword formation formed by 3 serene sand swords with 36 times the power. It used the sword formation to activate the mysterious power of heaven and earth. When cultivated to perfection, its power was faintly stronger than the perfect Mirage Sea Sword. However, Lin Feng's Mirage Sea Sword had stronger Origin Sea Force and more perfect control. Secondly, the 9 Hells Evil Chi and 108 Mirage Seas complemented each other. Its power was several times stronger than the normal Mirage Sea Sword and was not something the 3 light skybreaking formation could compare to. The power of my Mirage Sea Sword is between the 3 light skybreaking formation and the 6 lightless formation. If Lin Feng wanted to cultivate the 3rd level of the Mirage Sea Serene Sand, he would directly cultivate the 6 lightless formation. However, it was not very meaningful. After all, it would take a lot of time to cultivate the 6 lightless formation to perfection, and its power was only 1 level higher than the Mirage Sea Sword. When my Origin Sea Force reaches 30 times, the Mirage Sea Sword's power will not be much worse than the 6 lightless formation, even if it's still not as powerful. Lin Feng knew where the limit of the Mirage Sea Sword was. Instead of wasting time cultivating the 6 lightless formation, it was better to cultivate the 12 Theia formation. He would be able to fully master it when his Origin Sea Force reached 30 times. However, it was not the time to cultivate the sword formation. Create a secret technique. That was the biggest reason Lin Feng entered the Miracle of Souls. He must have a trump card, the strongest trump card, if he wanted to survive in the Starfall Tower and even enter the mysterious ancient battlefield. Lin Feng knew his strength. His Origin Sea Force had indeed reached 45,000 times and exceeded the limit of a peak ultimate god. However, the Origin Sea Force multiplier was one aspect and combat power was another. Combat power was composed of various factors and the Origin Sea Force multiplier was only one of them. It included the inner universe, the chaos treasure, the geographical environment, various aspects of abilities, and so on. One thought Ultimate God's close combat ability was extremely weak. Once he encountered a peak Ultimate God with exaggerated defense, it would be very troublesome if the Mirage Sea Sword could not break through the opponent's defense. My opponent is Universe God or even Grand Universe God from Universe 7's Divine Inquisition. Lin Feng would not forget that Universe 7's Divine Inquisition had set up an inescapable net to look for him everywhere. As long as he stood out, the enemy would soon arrive. They had not found him yet because he had not revealed himself and had not entered the Divine World battlefield for long. Therefore, they did not have many clues. However, that was only temporary. Senior Netherworld was found that day, and it was only a matter of time before he was found. One could not live long by relying on luck and luck. Only strength could truly determine one's fate. If I can create a saber technique, I can also create a secret technique. Lin Feng did not think it was difficult to create a secret technique. He did not necessarily have to create a powerful, mysterious, and unparalleled secret technique. It was impossible and unrealistic. At the beginning of creating a secret technique, one needed to accumulate experience and create a stronger secret technique step by step. First of all, one had to master it and learn from others. A big purchase. Lin Feng selected all the secret techniques to attack the Sea of Consciousness in the battle order space and exchanged them all. Chapter 2700. 4. 75 million battle credits. Although each spiritual sea attack mystic technique wasn't expensive, Lin Feng had exchanged quite a lot of them. Exchanging thousands of spiritual sea attack mystic techniques would consume a huge amount of battle credit. However, it was worth it. Even if all the spiritual sea attack mystic techniques of the 5 big figureheads were gathered, there wouldn't be that many. The mystic techniques of the Supreme God Realm battlefield had been accumulated over a long period of time. Every technique Lin Feng had exchanged could be considered top-notch among the 5 big figureheads. In terms of resources, the Supreme God Realm battlefield couldn't compare to the 5 big figureheads. However, in terms of the number of mystic techniques, the 5 big figureheads combined couldn't compare to the Supreme God Realm battlefield. This was also the reason why many venerables were willing to enter the Supreme God Realm battlefield. Furthermore, the battle credits required to exchange for these mystic techniques weren't high. In the Origin universe, the lack of the spiritual sky path resulted in there not being many one-thought venerables. One-thought Huang Zun and one-thought divine venerables were even rarer, so the mystic techniques they created were naturally limited. As for one-thought Yuan venerables, the mystic techniques created by them naturally wouldn't appear in the Supreme God Realm battlefield. There wasn't a single Source Sea attack mystic technique. However, there were a few Source Sea attack mystic techniques. Normally, one-thought divine venerables focused on controlling objects. After all, Source Sea attack or Source Sea attack were both very dangerous moves. Among them, the danger of Source Sea attack was slightly lower. The energy consumed by the Source Sea could be slowly recovered, but it wasn't so easy to recover the energy consumed by the Source Sea. There were thousands of spiritual sea attack mystic techniques, all of which were the fruits of one-thought Huang Zun's painstaking efforts. Lin Feng studied each one carefully. Although he hadn't cultivated them, he could taste the mysteries within. Source Sea attack and spiritual sea attack were very similar. Because the Source Sea itself was formed from the evolution of the spiritual sea, the Source Sea's energy was stronger and harder to control. There were many differences in the details, and it was somewhat different from the essence of the spiritual sea. However, there were undoubtedly many references to the mystic techniques within. Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry to create a mystic technique. If he didn't thoroughly understand the various mysteries and methods of the spiritual sea attack mystic techniques, the mystic techniques created would definitely be flawed. The key was still to learn from other people's strengths and absorb the advantages and experiences of all sorts of secret techniques, because each secret technique was definitely a perfect product that Sovereign One thought had modified countless times before it was finally formed. In the first 500 years, Lin Feng had been comprehending the mysteries of the Thousand Sea of Consciousness attack secret technique. In the second 500 years, Lin Feng was still comprehending. However, compared to the first 500 years, this time, his comprehension was deeper and more thorough. Lin Feng was even confident that he could use many secret methods to attack the Sea of Consciousness. In the third 500 years, Lin Feng began to comprehend the Source Soul secret technique because it had one thing in common with the Origin Sea secret technique, which was the use and control of Source Soul Force. It wasn't until the fourth 500 years that Lin Feng truly began to create the secret method to break through to the Origin Sea. The process of creating a secret technique was a pleasant one. It was equivalent to turning one's own insights into reality. Lin Feng was completely immersed in the process. he created, tested, and improved one secret technique after another to break through to the origin sea. So this is the difference between the sea of consciousness and the origin sea. Source soul force is too powerful. If I control the origin sea like this, the burden on my body will be too great. The key is not in source soul force, but in control of the origin sea. Source soul force is only a part of the origin sea. Only by completely controlling the origin sea and integrating source soul force into it can I truly break through to the origin sea. There would definitely be many obstacles when creating a secret method at the beginning. This included the first secret method that Lin Feng created, but all of them ended in failure. Although the origin sea attack and the sea of consciousness attack were similar, they were different type. It was like a marshal commanding two armies. Even if the number of troops was the same, the army itself was different. The first secret method he created was in the 478th year, which was close to the end of the 500 years. Although it was just an ordinary secret method, Lin Feng was already very satisfied. Everything was difficult at the beginning. With the first successful creation, he could slowly improve it later. Most importantly, the essence of the origin sea attack secret method was already in his heart. Continue. In the 500 years, Lin Feng tried again. Although there were not many battle merits left, he had obtained enough treasures in the Starfall realm. The treasures in the treasure thief's 100 treasure bag were worth millions of battle merits. The primal chaos treasures of Supreme God Qi Jie's group of 5 added up to a lot of battle merits. Lin Feng was not worried about battle merits. When he was strong enough, he could get as many battle merits as he wanted. Not long ago, he had used up all of his battle merit. I've finally created a flawless secret method. After countless failures, Lin Feng successfully created a flawless secret method in the 881st year. Most of the 1000 sea of consciousness attack secret methods that he had exchanged before were of this level. The flawless secret method was equivalent to a more exquisite secret method. Secret methods were divided into ordinary, flawless, superior, absolute, and ultimate levels. Each level was the same. Most cultivators created ordinary secret method. Those who had a deeper understanding of the heavenly Tao could create flawless secret methods by spending a lot of energy. They were quite accomplished in the creation of secret method. Slowly, they accumulated enough experience and had a thorough understanding of the heavenly Tao. Then, they could create superior secret methods by spending a lot of energy. For most venerables, creating superior secret methods was already the limit. Only those super existences in the universe who were as rare as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns would be able to create a secret technique. As for the ultimate secret methods, they only existed in legends. This was the classification of secret methods at each level. Take space secret methods as an example. There was a difference between a 10th level space secret method and an 11th level space secret method. The difference between an 11th level space secret method and a 12th level space secret method was even greater. The power of secret methods was first in rank and second in level. Of course, if one could create a 10th level ultimate secret method, it would be much stronger than most 11th level secret method. However, not to mention ultimate secret methods, even absolute secret methods were difficult to create. The spirit heavenly Tao was very special. Without 100,000 sources, it was incomplete in the origin universe. Lin Feng was an origin source soul, so the foundation of the source sea attack was equivalent to the 11th level space and time secret methods, which was the level of a godly venerate. If one could achieve a perfect origin source soul or reach the first thought yuan venerate level in their internal universe, the source sea attack would reach the 12th level. Lin Feng was an origin source chaotic Huang Zun, so his internal universe was even stronger. When he became a godly venerate, he would be able to achieve a perfect origin source soul and his internal universe would be comparable to a peak yuan venerate. At that time, the source sea attack secret method, he created would be able to surpass the 12th level and create a level 13 secret method comparable to a peak yuan venerate. However, he could only create a level 11 secret method for now. Even so, it was already strong enough because the carrier of a level 11 secret method was the origin source soul and the source C. The impact strength was too terrifying and was comparable to or even better than an ordinary level 12 secret method. In the year 1766, after repeated refinements and improvements, Lin Feng created an outstanding secret method. Chapter 2701. Excellent secret techniques were already very powerful. Most godly venerables used excellent grade secret technique. In addition, the power of the Source C attack itself was huge. A level 11 secret technique was comparable to a level 12 secret technique, so Lin Feng gave up. Moreover, Lin Feng was not confident that he could create an absolute secret technique. There was a huge difference between an excellent secret technique and an absolute secret technique. If one were to cultivate a superior secret art to the very limits of their comprehension of the heavens, there was a high chance that one would be able to create a superior secret art. The only difference would be the prowess of the superior secret art. On the other hand, secret arts could very well be created in an instant. It was the accumulation of talent, luck, and hard work. At least, Lin Feng was not confident that he could create an absolute secret technique without any actual combat experience. Since this Origin C Ascension Mystic technique was created on the Falling Star continent, it's named Falling Star. Lin Feng had always been casual when it came to naming things. He had no intention of spreading the mystic technique he had created. My ancestor created the 9 heavens of light and darkness, so I'll create the 9 heavens of Falling Star. Lin Feng smiled. Although he had only created the first heaven of Falling Star, he was not in a hurry as it had not even been an era since he created the secret technique. In the future, he would naturally create more powerful second heaven, third heaven, and fourth heaven of Falling Star. Even if it's the first heaven of Falling Star, it's already rare for a peak ultimate god to be able to survive this move. Lin Feng was very satisfied with this move. The destructive Source C attack was definitely his strongest trump card at the moment. However, he did not have a treasure to restore Source C energy, so it could only be a trump card for the time being and could not be used as a regular combat ability. It's almost enough to break through the Falling Star Tower with the Illusion Sea Sword. Lin Feng did not intend to continue creating the second heaven of Falling Star. He looked at the exhausted battle merits and left the Miracle of Soul. It was enough for the time being. What he should do now was to break through the Falling Star Tower and enter the ancient battlefield as soon as possible. Once he entered the ancient battlefield, he would be free to fly. It would be harder for the Inquisition of Universe 7 to catch him. There were only a few universe gods in the Inquisition of Universe 7 who could enter the ancient battlefield. Lin Feng returned to the Fallen Star realm. Wouldn't it be a pity if he didn't use the 2 star keys he obtained from the treasure thief? A silver star key could open a perfect chaos true treasure, while a gold star key could open a peak chaos true treasure. Both of them were extremely valuable. With the Black Pool's jade pearl in front of him, Lin Feng still had some hope for the Fallen Star treasure map. Not only were there treasures of chaos here, but there were also many strange treasures that didn't exist in the original universe. The Black Pool Jade was one of them. Perhaps there was an even higher grade than the Black Pool Jade. His soul control had reached 22 times, and it would not be easy to increase it any further. If he could borrow the power of a treasure like the Black Pool Jade, Lin Feng would be more than happy to do so. Unfortunately, the quest for the Black Pool Jade was no longer available, and staying in the Cold Valley was a waste of time. He could only place his hopes on the Fallen Star treasure map. It would be good if he did, but it didn't matter if he didn't. 1 silver and 1 gold. 2 star-grade keys required 216 Fallen Star diagrams. Every 108 Fallen Star maps could form a Fallen Star treasure map, and the star key was used at this time. Lin Feng didn't plan to search for it by himself. It was not only troublesome but also time-consuming. In the list of independent missions, there was a mission to purchase Fallen Star Map. The price was in the range of 30,000 to 50,000. Based on the unit price of 50,000 battle merits, 216 Fallen Star Maps would be 10 million battle merit. In the list of purchases, the highest unit price is 52,000 battle merits and requires 12 Fallen Star Maps. There weren't many Fallen Star Maps that cost more than 50,000 battle merit. Usually, they would only be offered a high price when they were in urgent need. After all, ultimate gods in the Starfall realm often had Fallen Star Map. It was a matter of quantity. If you offered enough battle merits, ultimate gods would sell them. I'll buy 85 maps for 60,000 battle merits first. Let's see how fast I can buy them. When Lin Feng entered the Starfall realm, he had already exchanged all the treasures of the primal chaos from Supreme God Qi Jie's group. However, he had kept the fallen star diagrams in their possession, so he only needed to buy 85 of them to gather 108 fallen star diagrams. The perfect domain-type treasure of chaos alone was worth more than 5 million battle merit. Otherwise, his battle merits alone would not be enough to initiate the purchase mission. 60,000 battle merits for 85 Fallen Star Map. The Battle Order Space tacitly agreed to pay 510,000 battle merits first. Lin Feng's battle merits came and went quickly. The battle merits he exchanged for the spoils of war were quickly consumed. Keep fighting. I believe I'll be able to accumulate enough battle merits to enter the Starfall Tower from here. The deeper I go into the Starfall realm and the closer I get to the Starfall Tower, the more ultimate gods there will be. Lin Feng galloped deeper. Although he was alone, he was not afraid at all. That was because he was strong enough to wipe out thousands of troops. In the Starfall realm, there were gasps of surprise. 60,000 battle merits for a fallen star map? Which ultimate god is so desperate for a fallen star treasure map? Buying fragmentary star maps and synthesizing them into fallen star maps can save a lot of battle merit. There's no need to spend 60,000 battle merits to buy a map. I don't understand. Save time. This ultimate god must have a lot of battle merit. Only 85 fallen star maps can be exchanged. Hurry up. What? That's it? That's too fast. I haven't even exchanged for one map. Damn it. These guys are so fast. The 60,000 merit points for a fallen star map was like a hurricane. It came and went quickly. In just a short while, it had disappeared from the mission list as if it had never appeared. 85 fallen star maps seemed to be a lot, but it was not. Every ultimate god here had at least a dozen fallen star diagrams, and some even had dozens of them. The fallen star diagrams were illusory. Only a fool would not trade for 60,000 fallen star diagrams. At worst, he could buy them back for 50,000 fallen star diagrams later. It would only take a little more time. The ultimate gods had a clear plan. Buying and selling would net them 10,000 battle merits for each fallen star map, which was equivalent to a high-level ultimate chaos treasure. Whoosh! A crisp sound pierced through the starry sky. In the void, a high-level ultimate god from the demon clan was horrified as he stared at his shattered chest. His life force was rapidly draining away as he lost consciousness and fell straight down from the sky. His eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness. Bang! He landed heavily on the ground. The mid-level ultimate god from the demon clan was instantly killed. The Mirage Ocean sword disappeared and returned to the Source Sea. If ultimate god Yunlan and the others were there, they would have been shocked. The ultimate god from the demon clan who was killed was a well-known figure in the Fallen Star realm. He was almost unstoppable there. However, he could not escape from Lin Feng's sword. There was no suspense or even any resistance. Before Divine Venerable Soaring Tiger could even sense Lin Feng's presence, the Mirage Sea sword had already stabbed him to death. The defense he was so proud of was torn apart like paper, unable to block this terrifying strike at all. Even in death, divine venerable soaring tiger didn't know who had killed him. 04. 88 million battle merits? Lin Feng appeared in the air above Supreme God soaring tiger, a look of satisfaction in his eyes. He had just entered the fallen star stage, and he had already caught such a big fish. Suddenly, a notification from the battle order space startled Lin Feng. The acquisition mission is over? Lin Feng blinked. He had just issued the mission not long ago. Chapter 2702. Lin Feng opened the battle order space and saw the details of the mission. He had indeed completed the acquisition mission. The 108 fallen star maps lay quietly in the battle order space. Each map had a trace of a meteor, and there was an inexplicable attractive force between them that could faintly combine them. It seems that the price is a bit high. Lin Feng didn't care about the little bit of wasted battle merit. During the acquisition mission, he had earned double the 488 million battle merits, which almost offset the value of the 108 fallen star map. Because this divine venerable soaring tiger had many treasures of the chaos on him. Let's set it at 55,000 this time. Lin Feng quickly exchanged the treasures of the chaos on divine venerable soaring tiger for battle merit. Together with the 488 million battle merits he had just earned, he launched another acquisition mission, 77 fallen star map. Divine venerable soaring tiger had 31 fallen star maps, which was quite a lot. He had expected the acquisition speed to be fast, but he didn't expect it to be so fast. It only took twice as long as before to acquire another 108 fallen star map. Looking at the 216 fallen star maps in the battle order space, Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This was too fast. How long had it been since he entered the fallen star realm, and he had already completed the original mission? The Mirage Sea Sword hasn't even unleashed its power yet. Lin Feng was also helpless. He had originally thought that it would take some time to purchase the 216 fallen star paintings. During this time, he would be able to familiarize himself with the use of the Mirage Sea Sword, including the use of the first firmament of fallen star, and consolidate and perfect his transformed strength. But now, he had just finished a battle, and 216 fallen star maps were already in his hands. It was too fast. It seems that I can buy a few more fallen star maps. In addition to the silver and gold fallen star maps, Lin Feng also had several grade keys. Among them, he wasn't interested in the treasures and secret methods, but Lin Feng was still interested in the fruits. Even if it was only one fallen star map, it would be good if he could obtain a fruit that directly strengthened his basic abilities. 3 fruit grade keys. Then I'll buy another 324 fallen star map. Lin Feng was in no hurry to collect them. He had no battle merits at the moment. If he wanted to launch another acquisition mission, he had to accumulate enough battle merits first. But before that, he had to assemble the fallen star treasure map first. Let's try using the silver star key first. Lin Feng took out the 108 fallen star map and the silver star key. This was the key to opening the 2-star treasure map. A strand of chaotic aura lit up the silver star key. In an instant, the silver star key shone brightly as if it was a call from the ancient times. The 108 fallen star diagrams instantly flew towards the silver star key and surrounded it, completely merging with it. Hua hua hua, bright and beautiful meteors streaked across the sky, just like the endless starry sky of the meteor fall continent. The silver radiance was like a guide, perfectly combining the 108 meteor fall diagram. The falling star treasure map that appeared flickered with a silver light, representing a 2-star star. This was the treasure trove on the 3rd floor of the meteor shower tower. There was no map above, but there was a silver light as a guide. If one followed the direction, they would be able to find the treasure trove. So, this is how the Starfall treasure map is. Lin Feng's curiosity was satisfied. It was not very different from the falling star map, except that it had an additional silver light and changed its appearance under the guidance of his consciousness. He would only know what the real treasure was after he obtained it. Then, Lin Feng also completed the combination of the gold star key. The gold star key was no longer silver light, but a noble golden light. The guidance of his consciousness was stronger, and the energy emitted by the falling star treasure map was stronger, as if it had an ancient power. The 3-star falling star treasure map. It could only be opened when one reached the top floor of the meteor shower tower. In the meteor shower realm, Lin Feng was the only one who had the 3-star falling star treasure map. The gold star key could only be found by chance. Meteor shower realm, Blue Night Wasteland. Finally found him. Tick Ink God had been searching for the human Nemo for thousands of years and finally had news. It was also because Lin Feng had returned to the East Star Square that he was able to track him down. In the meteor shower realm, although Tick Ink God had eyes everywhere, Nemo was too low-key. Tick Ink God had never had accurate information, and had never heard of anyone being killed by Huang Zun with a thought. He was alone and weak. It was indeed difficult for Tick Ink God alone to find Lin Feng in the vast meteor shower realm. But it was different in the East Star Square. There were many divine adjudicators guarding there. As long as the human Nemo appeared, they would discover him. If it wasn't for the fact that fighting was prohibited in the meteor shower realm, Tick Ink God would have killed Lin Feng long ago. But it wasn't too late now. He's hidden so deeply. There must be a secret. Tick Ink God became more and more suspicious of Lin Feng. No matter how he looked at it, this human was very suspicious. It didn't matter whether he was or not. Tick Ink God wanted to kill him. He would rather kill 10,000 innocents than let one go. The human Nemo was already a dead man in Tick Ink God's heart. You won't be able to escape this time. Tick Ink God's eyes flashed, and he quickly disappeared. I've collected enough battle merits. Lin Feng started the acquisition mission again. This time, he set the price at 53,000. It was useless to set the price high. He bought quickly, but he didn't have enough battle merits. He still had to wait until he killed enough godly venerables to collect enough battle merit. 200 battle merits came quickly. In addition, Lin Feng was one thought Huang Zun. He might not be as good at escaping as other godly venerables, but in terms of hunting, no one could compare to him. Once the Mirage Ocean Sword was used, all the godly venerables were killed in one strike. Escape? No matter how fast they were, they couldn't be faster than the Mirage Ocean Sword. As for teleportation or space transfer, they could be killed the moment they were used. Like a hot knife cutting through butter, Lin Feng practiced the illusory sea sword and improved his control of the soul. At the same time, he earned battle merits to purchase the Fallen Star map. 53,000 wasn't a high price, but it wasn't low either. The acquisition speed slowed down. After all, the godly venerables who were attracted by the high price before didn't want to trade when they saw the 53,000 meteor paintings. However, there were a lot of godly venerables in the meteor shower realm. If one didn't want to trade, someone else would. 53,000 battle merits was still at the top of the list of acquisition prices. Lin Feng bought another meteor treasure map without showing off. This time, he used a grade key as the source and directly condensed the meteor treasure map. It's really a 1-star meteor treasure map. Lin Feng looked at the 1-star meteor treasure map with ordinary starlight. He wasn't disappointed because he didn't have much hope before. 99 meteor treasure maps were all 1-star meteor treasure map. The grade key could only change the type of treasure. The star level still depended on luck. Suddenly, Lin Feng's heart froze as he felt a powerful aura descend. The other party seemed to know where he was and was flying at an extremely fast speed. However, he had only just sensed his presence. Those who came didn't have good intentions. Clang! Lin Feng didn't hesitate and directly used the Mirage Ocean Sword. Chapter 2703. What? Before Tikimo could get close to Lin Feng, he was attacked by the Mirage Sea Sword. His pair of eyes, overflowing with demonic power, were filled with a tyrannical light as his origin power surged. Dark golden light patterns turned into golden horizontal bars of stairs and resisted the Mirage Sea Sword's attack. Clang! Stumbling, Tikimo Universe God retreated in shock. One thought Huang Zun? According to the information, Niemo was only a one-thought Imperial Venerable, but Tikimo had already estimated Niemo's strength to be very high. If he could train in the Starfall realm, his combat strength would probably reach the level of a mid-level ultimate god. However, the attack just now had completely reached the level of a peak ultimate god. Perhaps even stronger. Whoosh! The Mirage Sea Sword only paused in the air for a moment before flying toward Tikimo again. Tikimo, who had suffered a loss in a head-on collision, would not be reckless again. The battle with one-thought Huang Zun could not be dragged out, as fighting with the flying sword would only waste his strength in vain. Blister Butterfly! The perfect Chaos Treasure was instantly displayed. A ferocious beast appeared in the void with a pair of bloody claws. It directly grabbed the Mirage Sea Sword and let out a hoarse and unpleasant roar, trying to crush the Mirage Sea Sword into pieces. However, the Mirage Sea Sword was so powerful that it was not so easy to control. Clang! Clang! The Mirage Sea Sword trembled violently in an attempt to break free from the evil Blister Butterfly's claws. However, Tikimo was already charging towards Lin Feng, a pitch-black trident appearing in his hand. Monstrous amounts of origin energy condensed on the trident as his battle prowess instantly erupted. He did not need to really destroy the flying sword, as it was enough to contain it for a moment. That was because he could kill the human in that moment. So this is the disadvantage of the Mirage Sea Sword. This was also the first time Lin Feng had encountered such a situation. If it was the saber in his hand, there was naturally no possibility of it being snatched, but the Mirage Sea Sword that was flying outside attacking was very likely to be restrained. Universe 7's Inquisition had no shortage of perfect chaos treasures. At this time, Lin Feng had already seen Tik Inc Universe God. The unique mark on his chest armor represented the 7th Universe's godly Inquisition. Although he didn't know where he had exposed himself, Lin Feng knew that he had to end the battle quickly. There might be more than one opponent. I didn't expect them to come so quickly. Lin Feng's origin sea churned violently. The moment the Mirage Sea Sword was restrained, Lin Feng prepared to execute his self-created secret technique, Falling Star. Even if his opponent was not Universe God from Universe 7's Divine Inquisition, he was still a peak ultimate god. Facing such an opponent, he had to go all out. If they gave him a chance, it would be very troublesome. Fallen Star. Lin Feng didn't dodge the incoming black trident, which was brimming with murderous intent. Instead, he unleashed his origin Sea Blast, and the mid-level Chaos True Treasure, Dark Roar, followed suit and trampled on his opponent's soul-protecting treasure. However, his opponent this time was a peak ultimate god, Universe God from the 7th Universe's Divine Inquisition. The ultimate treasure of the chaos in his possession was not something an ordinary ultimate god on the battlefield could compare to. You want to destroy my soul-protecting treasure with a mere mid-level Chaos True Treasure? Universe God Tikimo was disdainful. A black tower in his sea of consciousness was as stable as Mount Tai. Although his soul-protecting treasure was not a perfect Chaos True Treasure, it was at least a top-level Chaos True Treasure. It was 2 levels higher than a mid-level Chaos True Treasure. Universe God Tikimo had absolute confidence in resisting. However, just as Dark Roar's trampling failed, the origin sea that filled the sky turned into endless waves and rolled over. The vigorous and heavy origin sea far exceeded Dark Roar's trampling power. It was as if heaven and earth were falling apart, mountains were collapsing, and tsunamis were collapsing. Sizzle! Universe God Tikmo's soul-protecting treasure, the Black Tower, instantly broke and collapsed with a bang. The absolute difference in power. It's the Origin Sea. How could it be the Origin Sea? Universe God Tik Mo's eyes were filled with shock and his heart was beating rapidly. Huang Zun had the Origin Sea with such a powerful Origin Sea and an internal universe that was not inferior. Universe God Tik Mo's heart was as clear as a mirror. It was him. It must be him. Nie Mo was Huang Zun from the primordial chaos. The human Lin Feng. Boom. Huge waves from the Origin Sea came crashing down like exploding stars. The Nine Hells' evil Qi and illusory sea destroyed all of Universe God Tik Mo's willpower defense and made things worse. The human Lin Feng is in the Falling Star mainland. His alias is Nie Mo. In Universe 7's Divine Inquisition, Universe Gods and Universe Gods had a unique method of communication. Even if they were not on the same battlefield, they could still clearly transmit their thoughts. Before his soul and willpower were destroyed, Universe God Tik Mo had already transmitted everything he knew. He knew he would die without a doubt. The primordial chaos Huang Zun was too strong. With just one thought, Huang Zun had the combat strength comparable to a peak ultimate god. It was the same for Huang Quan that day, but Lin Feng was even more terrifying today. Controlling objects to attack and attacking with the Origin Sea were all killing moves. Bang! Universe God Tik Mo's consciousness was destroyed. Ding! The illusory sea sword returned to Lin Feng's hands along with all of Universe God Tik Mo's treasures were taken by Lin Feng, including a perfect chaos treasure. The battle merits of a 6-star warrior were quite high. However, Lin Feng's expression was a little solemn at this time. He was still discovered. Although he had kept a low profile and hadn't revealed his talents, and had spent most of his time cultivating in miracles, he still couldn't escape the pursuit of Universe 7's godly inquisition. Now that he had killed Universe God Tik Inc., he would soon attract even more Universe Gods. I must hurry. Lin Feng did not see any accomplices of Universe God Tik Mo. He came alone, which was quite impressive. However, he underestimated him. On the battlefield of the Supreme God World. Tik Mo. The black-white wheel in Yin God's hand rotated at an extremely fast speed. The cutting sound was particularly harsh, just like the cold light in his eyes at this time, full of killing intent. Well done. Yin God did not care about Universe God Tik Mo's death. As long as he could find the human Lin Feng, it did not matter how many Universe Gods died. Universe 7's Divine Inquisition never lacked powerhouses. If a Universe God died, he would soon be given an inheritance and replaced by a new Universe God. Gather. Everyone, set out for the Falling Star continent. Yin God ordered all the Universe Gods under his command. Since the target's location was confirmed, there was no need to waste time. They withdrew from the other battlefields and marched to the Falling Star continent to encircle and annihilate him. It was exactly the same as when they had encircled and annihilated Yellow Spring, but today, the target was the weaker human Lin Feng. Of course, this was what Yin God thought. However, he did not know that the current Lin Feng was at least 10 times stronger than Yellow Spring. Killing the human Lin Feng is a great battle merit. Yin God's eyes were full of ambition as he chuckled coldly. The will of the heavenly Tao has descended and given me an inheritance reward. When the time comes, I will very likely replace Universe God Xingjin and become one of the new Universe Gods. Ha 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 ha! Yin God laughed heartily. His figure turned into a yin-yang energy and instantly entered the Falling Star continent. Chapter 2704. My location was exposed in the East Falling Star Plaza. Lin Feng pondered for a moment and understood. Including the first time he entered the Starfall realm, he might have been exposed. Later, he returned to the East Falling Star Plaza. The second time, because he had just entered the Starfall realm, even his location was exposed. However, Universe 7's Inquisition God might only suspect his identity, and not be sure. Otherwise, Universe God Tikmo wouldn't have come alone. It wasn't easy to hide his identity, especially under the eyes of Universe 7's Inquisition God. Although they couldn't be sure, as long as they suspected, they would test it. Once he fought, he would inevitably be exposed. Eldest senior brother mentioned that Universe 7's Inquisition God and Universe God have a special communication method. The inner universe can't lie. When I fought with Universe God Tikmo just now, as long as he wasn't stupid, he must have found some clues. My identity must have been exposed. One's aura could be hidden normally, but during a fight it couldn't be hidden. He was just a Huang Zun powerhouse and couldn't pretend to be a godly venerable powerhouse. Even if he disguised himself well, he would be exposed in a fight. He couldn't help but sigh at Universe 7's Inquisition God's ability to find him in such a short time. It's not too late, but it's not too early either. At least with my current strength, I can protect myself against Universe God powerhouses. Enter the Starfall Tower as soon as possible and go to the ancient battlefield. Although his identity was exposed and he was in extreme danger, Lin Feng was still very calm. With his achievements, he could leave the Supreme God World battlefield, but what could he do? Return to the Taichung God realm and let his eldest senior brother and second senior brother protect him? Lin Feng couldn't do such a thing. If he didn't return to the Taichung God realm, the universe was so big that it was everywhere under the coverage of the original universe's will of heavenly Tao. If he returned to the original universe, he would have nowhere to run. That day, Senior Yellow Spring died in the original universe. Lin Feng wouldn't repeat the same mistake. The Supreme God World battlefield was the best choice. Being exposed didn't mean everything. The ancient battlefield doesn't belong to the original universe. It belongs to the Hongming Sea, a unique area. Lin Feng rapidly entered the fallen star boundary, his gaze sharp. In the ancient battlefield, Universe 7's Godly Inquisition doesn't have any advantage, and it won't be easy for Aeon Gods and Great Aeon Gods to enter. Within the Hongming Sea, without the protection of the will of the Heavenly Tao, the Universe God and Grand Universe God of Universe 7's Godly Inquisition would be greatly weakened. Lin Feng was confident that he didn't fear an Aeon God at this moment. The only thing he was wary of was the Grand Aeon God. But Cosmos 7's Godly Inquisition didn't have many Cosmos gods. His current target was the Starfall Tower. He could enter through transmission, but doing so would be tantamount to telling Universe 7's Inquisition that he had entered the Falling Star Tower. Lin Feng was not that stupid. Entering from the Fallen Star stage would be completely undetectable. Although Universe 7's Godly Inquisition would also be suspicious, it was also possible for them to suspect that he was still in the Starfall realm, or even that he had left the Starfall realm. The more suspicions there are, the more scattered the forces of Universe 7's Godly Inquisition will be, and the more advantageous it will be for him. I have enough battle merits. Lin Feng directly exchanged all the treasures of Tik-Mo and Universe God, plus some of the original treasures of Chaos, and once again launched an acquisition mission. 55,000 battle merits for a fallen star map. At this price, the acquisition would be completed very quickly. Sure enough, in just a moment, Lin Feng completed the acquisition. Although all the battle merits were used up, Lin Feng didn't care. After entering the Falling Star Tower, there would be hard battles, so there was no need to worry about not having enough battle merits. Passing through layers of obstacles and killing a few unlucky venerables on the way, Lin Feng quickly entered the center of the Starfall realm. Along the way, he changed his appearance. Although the effect might not be great, he could still do as much as he could. Like a meteor penetrating the wall, Lin Feng's figure passed through the Starfall realm. In front of him was the towering Falling Star Tower, flickering with a hazy luster and containing a vigorous energy. Its aura was proud and unique. Hongming's source item. I wonder if it's Buddha Heart Shura or Killer Heart Guanin's Hongmeng source item. Lin Feng knew about the existence of the two Almighties, who were the masters of the Divine World battlefield. Second senior brother had even told him to call for help when his life was in danger. Lin Feng didn't want to do this unless he had no other choice. He would take responsibility for his own matters. Venerable Yunlan said that if I go to the top floor of the Falling Star Tower, I will be able to receive the final mission. After completing the mission, I will be able to enter the ancient battlefield. I wonder what the final mission is. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. Without stopping, he directly entered the Falling Star Tower. The majestic meteor shower tower stood tall in the battlefield of the honorable God world. It was a world of its own and no one could shake it. On the first floor, there were many independent rooms for venerables to cultivate and rest. Killing was prohibited here. The effect of each room was equivalent to a 6-star miracle, and it also cost 100,000 battle merits for 100 years. He directly entered the second floor. Lin Feng's goal was clear. He wanted to enter the top floor of the Falling Star Tower as soon as possible and complete the mission to enter the ancient battlefield. By then, he would be free to fly. Even if the gods of the seventh universe tried to capture him, it would be harder than ascending to the heavens. Combine. Lin Feng now had 3 Falling Star treasure maps on him. One was a 1-star treasure map, one was a 2-star treasure map, and one was a 3-star treasure map. The 1-star treasure map was a combination of grade keys and was a fruit-type treasure map. The 2-star and 3-star treasure maps were a combination of star-grade keys. The type of treasure was unknown. He also had 2 fruit-type grade keys and 2 16 Falling Star treasure map. Since he had entered the Falling Star Tower, he naturally had to open the treasures one by one. He couldn't leave out the good stuff. Hua, light blossomed as another 1-star Fallen Star treasure map was born. Lin Feng was not surprised in the slightest. Very quickly, he assembled the final Fallen Star treasure map. This time, however, he took slightly longer to assemble the final Fallen Star treasure map. The energy it radiated was also somewhat different. Hua, silver light bloomed and lit up. The sudden change made Lin Feng slightly startled. He laughed involuntarily. The silver light represented a 2-star Falling Star treasure map. Lin Feng had one on him. It was just that the 2-star Falling Star treasure map didn't have a treasure type. However, the 2-star Falling Star treasure map in front of him was a combination of grade keys and was a fruit-type treasure map. Fortune and misfortune come hand in hand. Lin Feng smiled. Knowing that I was being chased by the seventh universe's gods, they specially gave me a treasure. Muttering to himself, Lin Feng didn't seem nervous at all. From the beginning, he never thought that he could escape the pursuit of the seventh universe's gods. It was only a matter of time before he was discovered. He had long been prepared. Moreover, the current him wasn't the same as when he had just entered the Supreme God Realm battlefield. With a thought, Huang Zun used the secret technique, Falling Star. The multiplier of his soul source power was as high as 45,000 times, exceeding the limit of a peak ultimate god. If the seventh universe's gods wanted to kill him, they would have to pay a huge price. Let's see who will have the last laugh. Lin Feng stepped into the second floor of the Falling Star Tower. Chapter 2705. Found it. Lin Feng quickly found the Starfall Tower's mission. Unique mission: upgrade the Starfall Tower. Kill 5 mid-level warriors who activated this mission on the second floor of the Starfall Tower or survive for 10 eras. The mission reward was simple and straightforward: the right to upgrade to the first floor of the Starfall Tower. Activate. Lin Feng was no stranger to unique missions. Once activated, he would not be able to accept other missions unless he completed them. There were conditions for upgrading the Starfall Tower's mission: being unable to leave the second floor of the Starfall Tower until he completed the mission or died. Whoosh! A huge map appeared in the battle order space. On top of the map, There were hundreds of dots of light, including Lin Feng himself, who had turned into a dot of light. These are the mid-level warriors who activated the unique mission. At a glance, Lin Feng knew that a light spot was flying towards him at a high speed, and its target was him. Smart. The ultimate god must have seen his light spot and knew he was a newcomer, so he immediately rushed over. There must be a difference between a newcomer and a veteran. One did not have to kill to complete the Starfall Tower's mission. Surviving for 10 eras was also possible. However, surviving for 10 eras was more difficult. Even if one did not kill others, it did not mean others would not kill them. Every ultimate god who activated the mission had a complete map. There was no way to hide after accepting the mission. These ultimate gods who activated the mission are probably not easy to kill. Those who were still alive must have some trump cards. Firstly, they were afraid of each other. Secondly, they did not dare to activate the mission if they were not strong enough. Once activated, they would expose themselves to the other ultimate god. The Starfall Tower's second floor mainly consists of mid-level and high-level ultimate gods with a few peak ultimate gods. However, those who activated the mission should be peak ultimate gods or high-level ultimate gods. No one dared to take the risk if they were not certain. This floor shouldn't be difficult for me. Lin Feng had used up a lot of Source C energy to kill Tikimo. Although the Source C was quite vast, it was not endless. He did not have any treasures to restore Source C energy, so the recovery speed was slow. However, Tikimo was a peak ultimate god from Universe 7's Divine Inquisition and was very powerful. The high-level ultimate gods and peak ultimate gods on this floor were weaker. Rise. Lin Feng's Mirage C sword instantly formed in front of him. Following the direction of the dot of light, it flew out the moment it sensed it. The Mirage C sword turned into a stream of light with soul origin strength contained within. Not far away, a supreme god Piku with sharp horns flew over, his eyes shining brightly. Supreme God Pai Chu was constantly paying attention to the promotion mission. As long as a new light spot appeared, he would immediately rush over to kill it. He didn't want to provoke the old people on the second floor. They either had trump cards or extremely strong life-saving abilities. Fighting with them would only be a waste of time. Killing rookies was the most efficient method. Supreme God Piku had used this method to kill 2 newcomers. As long as he killed 3 more, he would be able to complete the promotion quest. His heart was filled with killing intent. Suddenly, a stream of light appeared in front of him. Supreme God Pai Chu dodged out of reflex. Cold sweat seeped out of his back. His whole body was covered in golden light, which turned into a huge golden bell, firmly protecting his body. The next moment, he raised the perfect chaos treasure in his hand, which turned into a domain with howling winds. Supreme God Piku's battle reaction was quite fast, and his internal universe was directly pressed out. However, that stream of light completely ignored the domain. It suddenly changed direction and blasted toward the golden bell around Supreme God Piku's body. Chi. Ah! Supreme God Piku's expression changed as he felt a piercing pain. The terrifying stream of light revealed its true form. The Mirage C sword formed by soul origin strength poured into his mind, and a strong murderous aura followed. Not good! Supreme God Piku felt his willpower disintegrating. His defense loosened and instantly, a sharp pain attacked his heart. The depths of his sea of consciousness were overturned, and his willpower was quickly annihilated by soul origin strength. Pung! Supreme God Piku fell from the void. Supreme God Piku's face was filled with shock. He didn't know what had happened until he died. Swish! The Mirage C sword entered Supreme God Piku's body. Lin Feng appeared beside Supreme God Piku and took away all his treasures. After the promotion mission started, killing the mission target didn't give any battle merit. However, it didn't matter. The treasures on these supreme gods were worth a lot. Compared to Tikimo, he's much weaker. In Lin Feng's battle order space, the mission completion rate had reached 1/5. The second, the third. Lin Feng followed the order and killed his way through. Supreme gods who were strong in close combat might be very powerful in battle, but it wasn't necessarily so when it came to chasing. Most supreme gods had life-saving skills, so they weren't that easy to kill. Especially those who were fast, it was impossible to catch up with them once they escaped. Lin Feng was able to kill them successfully because he controlled the Mirage Sea Sword. His speed was faster than any supreme god's escaping speed. However, the supreme gods here were indeed much stronger than the supreme gods of the Fallen Star Realm. He had fought 7 of them and only killed 3. The success rate was less than 50%. If he relied on close combat, he might not even be able to kill one of them. Many supreme gods had life-saving treasures similar to blood escape. The fourth. Lin Feng chased after the closest light spot. Suddenly, the falling star treasure map had a consciousness guiding it. Lin Feng softly exclaimed and revealed a hint of joy. He had followed the direction of the falling star treasure map and completed the promotion mission. However, he had forgotten about it in the subsequent battles. I'm nearby. Lin Feng gave up on chasing after the target. The other party was rather cunning and maintained a certain distance from him. Moreover, his speed was rather fast and didn't give him a chance to get close. The Mirage Sea Sword was fast, but Lin Feng's own speed wasn't fast. He was Huang Zun. His consciousness was very clear. It was as if the falling star treasure map was calling out to him. He didn't need to waste any energy. Following the predetermined direction, Lin Feng quickly arrived at the area indicated by the falling star treasure map. Hua, the falling star treasure map shown in Lin Feng's hand. 2 one-star falling star treasure maps. They were both fruits of different grade key combinations. I wonder what kind of fruit it is. Lin Feng was curious. What he wanted the most was something like the Black Pool Jade. Refining it would directly increase his soul control and would be of great help to his strength. The falling star treasure map floated in the air and shone with light. Hua hua, as the fluctuations converged, they were projected onto the ground, forming the dazzling meteors on the meteor shower treasure map. They reflected each other with the meteor shower continent, appearing particularly special. Beams of light lit up under the ground, as if the treasure was being summoned. The light was boundless. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. In an instant, with a bang, an orange light broke through the ground. Lin Feng raised his hand and directly grabbed it. The first fruit. Chapter 2706. Rich wind energy suddenly surged out. It was a fruit filled with perfect wind laws. He could clearly feel the rhythm of the wind when he held it in his hand. Pure and exquisite wind energy condensed in the small fruit. Lin Feng had no doubt that he could instantly master 100,000 wind origins and comprehend the heavenly law as long as he swallowed the wind fruit. However, it had no effect on him at all. Its only use was to exchange for battle merits. Windward fruit 1. 5 million battle merits. Do you want to exchange? The message from the top-level intelligence in the battle order space was clear and simple. Lin Feng chose to agree. He did not need to hesitate as he walked the path of light and darkness in the cultivation of universal laws. A falling star treasure map is worth between 3 million and 5 million battle merits. This one seems to be a loss. Lin Feng's falling star treasure map was worth more than 5 million battle merits. It was a big loss to exchange only 5 million battle merits, including a fruit-type key. However, it was all luck and a gamble. Lin Feng did not care too much. It was not too difficult for him to obtain battle merits with his strength even in the falling star tower. 2. Lin Feng instantly sensed 2 high-level ultimate gods auras approaching. However, they obviously did not sense him as they were not heading toward him. In the falling star tower, Apart from some ultimate gods who had activated their promotion mission, there were more than 80% of ultimate gods who had not activated their promotion mission or had completed it. Killing such ultimate gods would naturally earn him battle merit. The two of them together are worth 1.28 million battle merit. The Chaos Treasure is worth 570,000 and almost 2 million battle merit. Lin Feng calculated his gains from that battle. It was too easy to kill two high-level ultimate gods with the illusion sea sword, as they did not have a particularly strong defensive Chaos Treasure. With 200 battle merits and the Chaos Treasure, any battle in the Falling Star Tower would earn him more than 1 million battle merit. It was not something the Fallen Star Realm could compare to. I've mastered the illusion sea sword, but I'm still a little unfamiliar with the Falling Star's secret technique. I can't practice it. Lin Feng was also helpless. Although his Source Sea was vast, he could not afford to use his Source Sea's energy to attack again and again, as his opponents were all high-level and peak ultimate gods. More than half of his Source Sea would be consumed after a few attacks, and it would take a long time to recover. However, if he didn't use the Origin Sea, he wouldn't be able to fully master the secret technique, Meteor Fall, to unleash 100 or even 120% of its power. It was very contradictory. I wonder if the ancient battlefield has any treasures that can restore the Origin Sea's energy. If the ancient battlefield did not exist, Lin Feng would have no other choice. He had a good trump card, but he could not use it to his heart's content. He continued to complete the promotion mission. There was still one more one-star Fallen Star treasure map. With the experience of his first failure, Lin Feng did not hold much hope for this one. The truth was indeed so. A mere one-star Fallen Star treasure map, even if it was good, had its limit. What Lin Feng was truly interested in were the two 2-star Meteor Fall treasure maps and the only 3-star Meteor Fall treasure map in his possession. If a suitable treasure appeared there, it would definitely be something good. Almost there. In the process of searching for the treasure, Lin Feng went through 5 more killings and successfully killed one of the high-level ultimate gods, completing 4/5 of the promotion mission. At that moment, the remaining 1-star Fallen Star treasure map was calling out to him. Whoosh! Lin Feng was extremely fast. With his previous experience, Lin Feng was very fast this time. The Fallen Star treasure map was suspended in the air, flashing and projected on the ground. The bright meteors on the Fallen Star treasure map were condensed and the fruits and treasures broke out of the ground in an instant. Oh! Lin Feng felt an abundance of soul origin power. It was obviously a fruit that was closely related to the soul. Not bad. Although he did not know how it worked, it was obviously suitable for him and was better than the windward fruit. The average value of a 1-star Fallen Star treasure map was equivalent to a good top chaotic treasure and was about 1 million battle merit. The windward fruit was actually not a loss, as it was worth 1.5 million battle merits, which was also above average. It was just that he did not need it. However, this soul-type fruit? Yuhetian, 800,000 battle merit. Do you want to exchange? Lin Feng immediately put it into the battle order space. He did not sell it but wanted to know its value. This soul-type fruit's value was not as high as the windward fruit from before. It was only half of its value. However, it was more valuable than the windward fruit to him. At the very least, it could strengthen his strength. I don't know if it's effective on the Origin Soul or the Source Sea. Lin Feng could feel a clear fluctuation of soul origin power. This was obviously not a fruit that could improve soul control. Although Lin Feng wanted to improve his soul control the most, it was also good to strengthen his Origin Soul and Source Sea. This was because he was fighting with the one-thought ultimate god. The specialty of the Fallen Star continent is the Black Pool Jade. It should be a treasure that can improve soul control. Lin Feng refined it. Yuhetian's pure airflow filled his body and his Source Sea instantly churned. Walala, ripples spread out as the Source Sea spread out like an army conquering the surrounding area. Lin Feng was very familiar with such changes. This was a sign of the expansion of the source C. As the universe in his body became stronger, his source C was constantly expanding. Not bad, right? Lin Feng smiled. Although what he wanted the most was a treasure that could restore his origin C's energy and expand his origin C, it wouldn't be of much help in the current situation. The source C had expanded, but the origin soul power that was consumed could not be replenished. It's fine as long as it can be used. Lin Feng was content with what he had. Exchanging such a treasure for battle merits was the most wasteful. If he could consume and refine it to improve his strength in all aspects, no matter what the improvement was, at least it was not a waste. There's one more. Kill it and I'll complete the promotion mission. Lin Feng's eyes were sharp. At this time, a new light spot suddenly appeared on the map of the unique mission not far from him. Lin Feng was extremely fast. He knew what was going on. The first ultimate god he killed, Piku, had come to kill him in the same way. It was a newcomer who had just started the promotion mission. Moreover, it had appeared right beside him. Generally speaking, newcomers were much easier to kill than veterans. He's unlucky. Lin Feng was extremely fast. In the instant he flew, his source C moved and the illusion C sword flew out. He could clearly sense the aura of a peak ultimate god. To Lin Feng, there was no difference whether it was a high-level ultimate god or a peak ultimate god. He would fight directly. Whoosh! The illusion C sword's origin soul power erupted. Lin Feng controlled the illusion C sword from a distance. At this time, their auras were colliding. Lin Feng was not at a disadvantage in the competition of the inner universe. However, Lin Feng was stunned the moment the illusion C sword attacked the opponent. No way? Chapter 2707. Found him! He's in the Starfall Tower and completed the promotion mission. Ely Universe God sent the message as fast as he could with a crazed look on his face. He did not expect to bump into the target as soon as he started the promotion mission. The human Lin Feng, the Yin-Yang Universe God, had already clearly informed him of Lin Feng's characteristic. Huang Zun's aura and internal universe were comparable to a peak ultimate god. There was no need to look at his attack method or appearance. Just these two things alone were enough to judge. His life aura and internal universe power could not be hidden. They would be exposed as long as he fought. The Yin-Yang Universe God led all the universe gods under his command to gather. One group searched for the Starfall Realm while the other searched for the Starfall Tower. 3 universe gods started the promotion mission and quickly completed it to the 3rd floor of the Starfall Tower. One of them was Ely Universe God. The Yin-Yang Universe God would not let go of any possibility. Although the human Lin Feng was Huang Zun, he could kill Ely Universe God and his strength could enter the 3rd floor of the Starfall Tower. The Yin-Yang Universe God would not let go of any possible area. Well done, Ely. Hold him back. I'll be there immediately. The Yin-Yang Universe God laughed. It was really easy to get what he wanted. He did not expect to be so lucky as to bump into Lin Feng as soon as he sent Ely Universe God into the Starfall Tower. After all, the Starfall Tower was so big and the human Lin Feng was so cunning that he could change his appearance and body shape. He could only be distinguished in battle. It was extremely lucky to bump into him. However, there were thousands of ultimate god experts on the 2nd floor of the Starfall Tower. Although the Yin-Yang Universe God was fast and rushed to the 2nd floor of the Starfall Tower, his communication with Ely Universe God was cut off the moment he entered the Starfall Tower. Ely? Ely! The Yin-Yang Universe God's consciousness repeatedly shouted but did not get any response. It was as if Ely Universe God's line was suddenly cut off. All his communication sank into the sea and there was no response. Damn it! Yin-Yang God's hair stood on end like an enraged beast. He knew what was going on. It was obvious that Yin-Yang God was dead. Just like Tikimo, he died at the hands of the human Lin Feng. The first time might be due to luck, but the second time would no longer be due to luck. The human Lin Feng did indeed have the strength to kill an eternal god. Huang Zun is merely a peak ultimate god, but he has an internal universe comparable to a peak ultimate god and can easily kill Ian God. The Yin Yang Grand Eternity God finally understood why the will of the Heavenly Tao was so afraid and why Xing Jin Grand Eternity God was so concerned about venerable primal chaos. They were too terrifying. Even someone as strong as Eternal God EU was killed in a short period of time. You can't run. The Yin Yang God's eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. He strode into the second floor of the Falling Star Tower. Since he knew that Lin Feng was on the second floor, he was confident that he could kill him. This was his chance. My luck is really good. Lin Feng looked at Eternal God EU's corpse helplessly. There were only identical light spots on the promotion mission map. It was impossible to distinguish who was who. Only when the Fantasy Sea Sword attacked during the battle did he see the opponent's true face. The Universe 7's Inquisition God was not much different from other peak ultimate gods. After all, this was not the original universe. The only difference was that the Universe 7's Inquisition God's armor had the logo of the Universe 7's Inquisition God. However, these could only be seen with the naked eye. I've been exposed again. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. He felt that he was a crafty rabbit with 3 burrows and was desperately trying to hide, but no matter how he hid, he would be exposed. Originally, completing the promotion mission and entering the 3rd floor of the Falling Star Tower could buy him a lot of time. However, he was now met by the Universe 7's Inquisition God. His luck was too bad. Forget about them. I'll be caught no matter how I run. I'll just advance as fast as possible. At least they'll need some time to come up. Lin Feng had completed the promotion mission and obtained the right to enter the 3rd floor of the Falling Star Tower. The experts of the Universe 7's Inquisition God should first search the 2nd floor. They would only enter the 3rd floor when they couldn't find him. However, they were the same as him in the Supreme God World battlefield. There was nothing special about them. They had to complete the promotion mission to enter the 3rd floor of the Falling Star Tower. As long as he was fast enough, he would be on the 3rd floor when they searched the 2nd floor. When they searched the 3rd floor, he would already be on the top floor. The top floor of the Falling Star Tower could lead to the ancient battlefield. It's just as I thought. After stepping onto the 3rd floor of the Falling Star Tower, Lin Feng received another unique mission. It was almost the same as the promotion mission on the 2nd floor. To advance to the top floor of the Falling Star Tower, he also needed to kill 5 cultivators who initiated this mission. Lin Feng directly ignored the other option of surviving for 100 eras. If he really dragged on for that long, the Universe 7's Inquisition God would have kidnapped him and sent him back to the original universe. Surviving for 100 eras was suitable for ultimate gods who were not very strong but had strong life-saving abilities. The 2nd floor of the Falling Star Tower mainly consists of medium and high-level ultimate gods with some peak ultimate gods. The 3rd floor of the Falling Star Tower is full of peak ultimate gods with physical origin power between 1,000 to 10,000 times. There are also some powerful high-level ultimate gods. The peak ultimate gods who initiated the mission are probably at the level of Li and Zhou. Lin Feng also knew that this round of the mission was much more difficult. Those ultimate gods on the 2nd floor of the Falling Star Tower could be defeated, but it was very difficult to kill them. It was even more difficult to kill peak ultimate gods on this floor. There were only 27 light spots flashing on the map. Those who were still alive were definitely not easy to deal with. I have to be fast. Lin Feng clearly knew that once the Universe 7's Inquisition God could not find him on the 2nd floor, they would quickly go up to the 3rd floor. There were only 27 peak ultimate gods who initiated the mission on the 3rd floor. It was too easy for them to lock onto him. It was not difficult to guess his motive: to enter the ancient battlefield. With the Universe 7's Inquisition God's caution, I guess the entrance to the second floor of the falling star tower has been sealed. Lin Feng knew how the Universe 7's Inquisition God worked. Once he was exposed, he would be caught like a turtle in a jar. The falling star tower was big enough in terms of a jar, but the Universe 7's Inquisition God's way of thinking was too simple. I'm only afraid of the cosmic god. Lin Feng had already killed 2 cosmic gods. The cosmic gods without the protection of the heavenly Tao were just ordinary peak ultimate gods and were not scary. He could kill them as long as he encountered them. Only the cosmic god was still a peak ultimate god even without the protection of the heavenly Tao. His strength level was 2 levels higher than his own. There's nothing I can do if I really encounter him. Lin Feng had already prepared for the worst. His figure was like lightning as he rushed to the nearest white light spot. He also had 2 falling star treasure maps that had not been opened on this floor. I hope it can give me a little surprise. Chapter 2708. On the second floor of the meteorite tower. Just as Lin Feng had expected, the Yin-Yang cosmic god had arrived with all the cosmic gods. 2 of them were guarding the entrance to the second floor to prevent Lin Feng from escaping to the first floor and leaving via teleportation. The rest were searching for him on the second floor. Report immediately once you find any suspicious traces. I'd rather kill the wrong person than let him go. The Yin-Yang cosmic god led the search. He had completed his promotion mission when he was an ultimate god and could enter and leave the meteorite tower at will. However, he didn't have a map, so he wasn't as clear as the other cosmic gods who had received the promotion mission. However, that wasn't important. The cosmic gods could clearly sense each other's position and could communicate through consciousness. As long as one cosmic god discovered Lin Feng, the Yin-Yang cosmic god would be able to sense his position and teleport directly. It was impossible to teleport in and out of the meteorite tower. However, on the second floor of the meteorite tower, one could teleport directly to any place on the second floor. The Yin-Yang cosmic god was a peak Yuan venerate, so he wasn't afraid of the danger of teleportation. So what if he was attacked by an ultimate god? Could an ultimate god hurt him? Sir, could the target have already reached the third floor? Cosmic God Yunlu was the Yin-Yang cosmic god's most capable subordinate. Not only was he the strongest among the cosmic gods, but he was also extremely intelligent. It's possible, but don't worry. The Yin-Yang cosmic god's eyes glowed. He just killed cosmic god Ili not long ago. The possibility of completing the promotion mission is not high because he needs to kill 5 mission takers. The probability of cosmic god Ili being the 5th is only 20%. Take it slow. Search the second floor first and confirm the identities of all 145 light spot. It won't take long. He can't leave the meteorite tower and can only climb up. The promotion mission on the third floor isn't that easy to complete. It'll take at least a few decades and at most a few thousand years. The Yin-Yang cosmic god had experienced a promotion mission before. In the Supreme God Realm's 10 great battlefields, one had to complete the promotion mission in the end. The meteorite tower wasn't the only tower. It was one of the components of the Hongmeng source items. When the Yin-Yang cosmic god completed the promotion mission, it only took him 10 years to complete the second floor but 500 years to complete the third floor. It was too difficult to kill a ultimate god there. Taking a step back, even if Lin Feng was extraordinarily talented, completing the mission on the third floor would only allow him to enter the top floor of the meteor shower tower. He would have to complete the most demanding final mission before he could enter the ancient battlefield. The time needed to complete the final mission was calculated in epoch. If you force a dog into a dead end, he won't be able to escape. No matter how fast he runs, he's just a dog that ran to the top. The Yin-Yang god's eyes were filled with contempt and coldness. He suddenly clenched his fists, revealing a dense, baleful aura. You can't escape from my grasp. Everyone had their own plans. If it were any other Ian god, once they discovered Lin Feng's tracks, they might have already notified Ian god Xing Jin and sent even more Ian gods to capture him. It was even possible that Ian god Xing Jin would personally come. At that time, Lin Feng's situation would be extremely dangerous. However, the Yin Yang god was extremely ambitious. This was also the reason why he accepted this mission. As a grand Ian god, although he had obtained the favor of the heavenly Tao and was bestowed with great strength, at the same time he was also bound by the heavenly Tao. If he wanted to increase his strength and break through his shackles, he could only rely on the heavenly Tao's bestowment. For example, he could become one of the three master Ian gods like Ian god Xing Jin. The Yin Yang god wanted to replace Ian god Xing Jin. Therefore, this was his best opportunity. Phew! The space shook and the color of blood filled the air. Violent energy fluctuations remained in the void. Lin Feng controlled the Mirage Sea Sword and frowned slightly. Although he had injured his opponent in the battle that had just ended, he had still let his opponent escape. Compared to the opponents on the second level, the peak ultimate gods here were not only stronger, but also more cunning and had excellent life-saving abilities. This was because they had all undergone the second level's baptism and completed the promotion mission. It would be great if my internal universe could be a little stronger. Lin Feng also knew that it was impossible. Unless he became an ultimate god now, his internal universe would be comparable to a peak Yuan venerate. However, he was only Huang Zun. It was already very strong for his internal universe to be comparable to a peak ultimate god. It even faintly surpassed a peak ultimate god. If it exceeded but could not be suppressed, it would be impossible to control a peak ultimate god to escape. Lin Feng already knew this when he was on the second level. The Mirage Sea Sword's attack had a disadvantage. Although its attack speed was fast, it was still a controlled attack. The weakness of the Mirage Sea Sword was undoubtedly obvious when it encountered a peak ultimate god with strong defense or the ability to restrain. Once the Mirage Sea Sword was restrained, it would be easy for the opponent to escape. The peak ultimate gods here were different from Ian gods. Previously, Ian god Tikemo had restrained the Mirage Sea Sword and attacked Lin Feng fiercely because Lin Feng was the archenemy of Universe 7's Divine Inquisition and was a target. However, the peak ultimate gods here were not that stupid. Huang Zun, who could control objects with one thought, had broken through to the third level of the Falling Star Tower. What a joke! What kind of strength was this? What kind of trump card was this? Controlling objects to attack was already so terrifying. Once they got close, they would easily suffer soul attack. Even if they could kill the opponent, they would probably die together with him. Their goal was to complete the promotion mission, not fighting spirit. There's no other way. I'll take it one step at a time. Lin Feng could not change his attack method in a short period of time. Although he could use the Source Sea to attack and kill the opponent, it was too stupid to do so. Once the Source Sea's energy was exhausted, he would lose his trump card. What if he encountered an enemy from Universe 7's Divine Inquisition? Moreover, there was a final mission waiting for him after completing the promotion mission and stepping onto the top level of the Falling Star Tower. This was not the end. The consciousness of a falling star treasure map is approaching. Lin Feng quickly moved forward according to the sensing. The third level of the Falling Star Tower was very big, but there were very few light spots. It would take a long time to kill 5 people to complete the promotion mission. Even if he was in a hurry, he could not rush. 2-star Falling Star Treasure Map. The value was much more expensive than a 1-star Falling Star Treasure Map. The average value of a 1-star Falling Star Treasure Map was 1 million battle merits, but a 2-star Falling Star Treasure Map was worth 10 million battle merit. Although it was not difficult for Lin Feng to obtain 10 million battle merits, It was very difficult to obtain treasures worth 10 million battle merit. Such treasures were rarely sold by 5-star or 6-star warriors. Even if there were, they would not be able to snatch them. The moment they were placed in the battle order treasury, they would be instantly destroyed. The closest thing to him was the Meteor Fall treasure map that was formed using the Silver Star level key. There was no treasure type. Lin Feng had experience excavating a Meteor Fall treasure map before, so he remained calm. It would be best if it was suitable. Even if it was not a big deal. There was no need to hold too much hope. Hua, the silver light was resplendent. The falling star treasure map floated in the void, reflecting the ground. Streaks of resplendent meteors streaked across, and a vision appeared. Instantly, with a boom, the treasure broke out from the ground. Chapter 2709. It was a strangely shaped, ladder-shaped object. It was snow-white and emitted a metallic glow. The luster emitted by the fallen star treasure map fell on this ladder-shaped treasure and refracted it like a blazing sun. Smack! Lin Feng held it in his hand. The snow-white metal object was neither heavy nor big, but it was a little special. It did not have chaotic energy and was obviously not a chaos treasure. It was not surprising that Lin Feng had such a treasure. The Qin Emperor's origin heart did not have chaotic energy. This snow-white treasure was incomparable to the Qin Emperor's origin heart. After all, it was only produced from the 2-star fallen star treasure map. No matter how valuable it would only be worth tens of millions of battle merits at most, which was equivalent to a supreme-grade perfect chaos treasure. However, it was a little special compared to a chaos treasure. The treasures in the battle token vault were exchanged by the ultimate gods, so they were all chaos treasures. However, this treasure was excavated from the fallen star treasure map and was obtained in a different way. Imperial War God Token, 12 million battle merit. Do you want to exchange? The message that appeared in the top-level artificial intelligence made Lin Feng ponder. This ladder-shaped treasure was obviously unheard of. It was within his estimation that it was worth 12 million battle merit. After all, the 2-star fallen star treasure map was worth about 10 million battle merit. 12 million battle merits was only slightly higher than the average value. The problem was that he did not know what the Imperial War God token was used for. What if he could not exchange it after refining it? However, if he exchanged it directly, the Imperial War God token would be useful to him and would be a loss. Refine. Lin Feng thought for a moment and made a decision. At worst, he would lose 12 million battle merit. He had to give it a try. He did not lack battle merits, but it would be a pity to miss out on a treasure that could be used. Moreover, he also wanted to know what the Imperial War God token's function was. Whoosh! Lin Feng directly refined the core of the Imperial War God token as his consciousness entered it. In an instant, a series of information appeared in his mind. It was a special battlefield token with a very simple function: turn it into a battlefield. This is a treasure worth 12 million battle merits? Lin Feng did not know whether to laugh or cry. The function was simple and did not help his strength at all. It was a loss in terms of battle merits, and was not a treasure that could improve his basic abilities or combat strength. However, it was still usable. Could it be that the battlefield is very special and has the effect of a domain? Lin Feng immediately used the Imperial Battle Deity Order. A snow-white radiance blossomed as the Imperial Battle Deity Order descended from the sky. In an instant, it was as if snow and ice covered the entire sky, freezing the entire area. This? Lin Feng stood there in a daze. He could no longer sense the outside world. There was no domain power, nor was there anything special about it. However, the area around him was completely isolated from the original space, and he could not even teleport away. The battlefield. So this was the battlefield. Interesting. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered as he got used to the Imperial War God token's battlefield. There was nothing special about it, it was just a square battlefield. Once you entered, Don't even think about leaving. It couldn't be used as a control-type treasure because the battlefield was centered around the user. In other words, Lin Feng must be on the battlefield. However, it was a top-notch treasure for killing, especially suitable for cultivators with absolute strength. Previously, Fantasy Sea Sword Elder was restrained and couldn't break through his defense, giving those ultimate gods a chance to escape. Now they can't escape. Lin Feng put away the Imperial Battle Deity Order. Escape through the spatial laws? They couldn't leave. Escape through a special treasure? They couldn't leave either. Escape through absolute speed? The battlefield also had boundaries. The only way to leave was to kill Lin Feng, and the effect of the Imperial Battle Deity Order would naturally disappear. There's another possibility. Lin Feng felt the energy fluctuation of the Imperial Battle Deity Order. It was a very special energy, different from the chaotic energy. The Imperial Battle Deity Order doesn't need laws or soul control. It's an energy treasure. It was used through energy. Once the energy was exhausted, the effect of the Imperial Battle Deity Order would disappear. Although the battlefield was released for a short time, Lin Feng could feel the energy consumption of the Imperial Battle Deity Order. It could be maintained for a long time, but not for long. It's the same as the Source Sea. Lin Feng was helpless. Although he knew that such a treasure could replenish its energy, just like the Source Sea, the problem was that he didn't have it now. It's fine as long as it can be used. At least it doesn't affect my strength. I'll give it a try. The advancement mission is too difficult. I've only killed one after an entire epoch. Hierarch Brilliant Dragon sped through the meteor tower, searching for opponents everywhere. He wanted to step into the top floor of the meteor tower, but the advancement mission was too difficult. It was easier said than done to kill 5 opponents who had activated the same mission. Not to mention that his strength was only above average here. Even if he could win the battle, killing him wouldn't be easy. Every ultimate god had a life-saving technique. There's one coming towards me. Hierarch Brilliant Dragon's eyes lit up as the golden M pattern on his forehead trembled, releasing spatial fluctuations as his fighting spirit soared. This position doesn't seem to belong to those old fellows. A newcomer? Hierarch Brilliant Dragon's fighting spirit was aroused. He wasn't afraid of battle since he had to fight to complete the advancement mission. Moreover, he had a powerful innate ability. Even if he couldn't defeat his opponent, he could instantly escape through the blood escape space. It was more than enough to protect himself. He's here. Hierarch Brilliant Dragon had already sensed the opponent's aura. Huang Zun? Hierarch Brilliant Dragon was slightly stunned, somewhat in disbelief. However, he didn't have time to doubt it. His opponent's huge internal universe had already suppressed him. What followed was a sharp sound of breaking through the air. It was a treasure sword that flew like a meteor with soul origin power contained within. One thought ultimate god? Or one thought Huang Zun? Hierarch Brilliant Dragon's thoughts flashed as he faintly felt uneasy. His speed wasn't fast, and his defense wasn't strong either. It was very dangerous for him to deal with a one-thought ultimate god, especially when his opponent seemed to be hiding his strength. He could only sense Huang Zun's life aura. Pung! Hierarch Brilliant Dragon used all his strength to block the Mirage Sea Sword's attack. With one strike, he knew that his opponent's strength wasn't weak. The internal universe is too strong. Dodge. Hierarch Brilliant Dragon didn't force himself. Now was the advancement mission, not the time to show off his strength. The golden M on his forehead emitted a resplendent light as Hierarch Brilliant Dragon was about to use his innate ability to escape through the blood escape space. Suddenly, shwa! A white light appeared like a world of ice and snow, sealing the surroundings. The entire space seemed to have been frozen. Hierarch Brilliant Dragon's innate ability couldn't sense the outside space. He widened his eyes, completely unaware of what was happening. What's going on? This was the first time someone as experienced as Hierarch Brilliant Dragon encountered such a strange situation. Not good. When the Mirage Sea Sword appeared again, Hierarch Brilliant Dragon instantly understood what was going on. His expression changed drastically. Chapter 27:10. Boom. Bang. A great battle broke out on this spotless snow-white battlefield. It didn't last long because Lin Feng's strength was far superior to Hierarch Brilliant Dragon's, and the Mirage Sea Sword's unique advantage completely subdued his opponent. Hierarch Brilliant Dragon's estimation wasn't wrong. An opponent like Lin Feng wasn't someone he could deal with. Running away at the first opportunity was the best choice, but he couldn't escape through space. His powerful innate ability failed for the first time. But he was already dead. The Imperial War God token is worth far more than 12 million battle merits. Lin Feng put away the Imperial War God token. In just a short moment, the token's energy had been consumed by 5%, which was a huge consumption. It must be known that he had killed his opponent in an instant without suffering any losses. Even so, Hierarch Brilliant Dragon had a perfect Chaos True Treasure on him. In addition to other top-grade Chaos True Treasures, he could exchange for 45 million battle merit. This was half the exchange value of the Imperial War God token. Without the Imperial War God token, Lin Feng knew that it would be very difficult for him to kill the cunning Hierarch Brilliant Dragon because everyone knew how powerful his innate ability was. But now, he was killed because of the Imperial War God token's blockade on the battlefield. It could be said that he had earned 45 million battle merits for free because of the Imperial War God token. And this was just the beginning. With the Imperial War God token, it shouldn't be difficult to complete 5 kills. Lin Feng was particularly satisfied with the Imperial War God token's effect. It was like a pillow given when he was sleepy. Although the Imperial War God token didn't help increase his battle strength, it was very suitable for the moment. Because he needed time. He had to reach the top floor of the Falling Star Tower as quickly as possible while the Adjudicator of Universe 7 was searching the second floor. It was a competition of time. Next. Lin Feng quickly rushed to the next target. The Imperial War God token in his hand was like a great killing machine. Coupled with Lin Feng's crushing battle strength, he was like a fish in water on the battlefield. The second floor of the Falling Star Tower. Yin Yang God's expression was ice-cold as he stood at the border between the second and third floor of Meteor Fall Tower. The universe gods under his command were wantonly searching the second floor of Meteor Fall Tower, but they couldn't find any trace of the human Lin Feng. When Ilyang God died, I had already rushed to the second floor of the Falling Star Tower. After that, come to the border as quickly as possible. Unless Ilyang God is the last person to be killed, the human Lin Feng must still be on the second floor of the Meteor Shower Tower. The Yin Yang God was a meticulous person, and he had been guarding the border for a long time. Because he clearly knew that Lin Feng would definitely go up the Meteor Shower Tower and not leave it. If he wanted to enter the third level, he had to pass through here, but he didn't see Lin Feng appear. The search on the second floor had mostly been confirmed, but there were still no clues about Lin Feng. It was as if Lin Feng had suddenly disappeared. There was no news about him at all. Damn it! The Yin Yang God clenched his teeth, his face ashen. He was no longer certain that Lin Feng was still on the second floor of the Falling Star Tower. As the search progressed, the possibility of Lin Feng being on the third floor of the Falling Star Tower was getting higher and higher. He could enter the third floor of the Falling Star Tower, but he couldn't accept the promotion mission. Looking for Lin Feng in the huge Falling Star Tower was undoubtedly like looking for a needle in a haystack. The eternal gods under his command first had to pass the promotion mission to enter the third floor of the Falling Star Tower. It wasn't as if they could enter the third floor directly. That was quite annoying. Yunlu, quick! The Yin Yang God could not wait any longer. Among the eternal gods, Yunlu God's progress was the fastest. He had already killed 3 people who had advanced and would soon be promoted to the 3rd floor. The 4th one. Compared to the eternal gods on the 2nd floor, Lin Feng's efficiency on the 3rd floor of the Falling Star Tower was far higher. He had fought a total of 9 battles and killed 4 peak ultimate gods with a success rate of nearly 50%. The 5 peak ultimate gods that he failed to kill either had extremely strong defenses or amazing body movement technique. Although Lin Feng was confident that he could exhaust them to death, the problem was that the Imperial War God token's energy consumption would be huge. It was not worth it. The Imperial War God token's effect was not only useful on the 3rd floor but also on the top floor. Lin Feng would not kill those who were too troublesome. He would only pick the weak ones. Efficiency was the most important thing. Moreover, Lin Feng still had time to choose since he had not found the second 2-star Falling Star treasure. If the Aeon gods want to enter this place, they will have to complete the same promotion quest. Although they are strong, it is not easy to kill those who have been promoted. I will definitely be faster than them. While Lin Feng was completing the promotion quest, he had also been paying attention to the light dots on the quest space map. Once the light spots increased, he would immediately complete the last kill at all costs and quickly enter the top floor. The increase in light spots meant that a new person had appeared, and it was very likely to be an eternal god. There were not many light spots on the 3rd floor of the Falling Star Tower. Boom! Lin Feng did not wait for the number of light dots to increase. Soon, in the 10th battle, he cleanly killed his opponent. The penetrative power of the Mirage Sea Sword was extremely strong. If the opponent did not have a top-grade defensive treasure, it would be very difficult to block it. In particular, the Phantom Sea Sword itself was not affected by the domain, and Lin Feng's internal universe was not weaker than any peak ultimate god. The promotion mission became extremely easy because of the Imperial War God token. Mission completed. A clear message came from the top-grade artificial intelligence. The unique mission disappeared and Lin Feng obtained the right to enter the top floor of the Falling Star Tower. He already knew the location of the junction. Simple. Lin Feng smiled. The disappearance of the mission map was more advantageous to him. He could not see if new light spots appeared, and the eternal gods of Universe 7's Divine Inquisition could not find him through the light spot. The top floor would be the final checkpoint. The Imperial War God token has 37% energy left. Lin Feng felt heartache after consuming 2/3 of the token's energy. He did not know what the final mission of the top floor was like. If it was the same as the 2nd and 3rd floors, the Imperial War God token's energy would definitely not be enough. I wonder if there's a second Imperial War God token. Lin Feng searched for traces of the second Falling Star treasure map. At this time, he had already searched a small half of the 3rd floor of the Falling Star Tower. His consciousness was getting stronger and closer to the treasure. Although Lin Feng still wanted to get the Imperial War God token, he knew it was impossible. This was because this 2-star Falling Star treasure map was a fruit type and not a treasure type. However, even if it was a treasure type, the chances of obtaining the Imperial War God token were not high. I'm here. Lin Feng quickly reached the place his consciousness was guiding him to. In comparison, fruit-type treasures were more suitable for him. Although the Imperial War God token was good, Lin Feng wanted more treasures that could improve his basic abilities or combat strength. Whoosh! A bright silver light bloomed as Lin Feng's eyes shone. In a split second, meteors flashed and resonated with each other. Vigorous energy broke out of the ground. Lin Feng felt the fruit's abundance and reached out to grab it with a confident smile. Good stuff.